here with Runpure Sports to shout out our hosts who had great calls last week and our members who are coming off a huge week where they shipped over $1.2 million in prizes. Congrats to our very own Bobby who landed a ticket to the DraftKings Live NFL Final in Miami.
He called it a touchdown! Woo!
Touchdown, Ayuk!
Let's go!
Let's go! Let's go!
Bobby made a huge call on 2% owned running back Rashad Penny, who ended up with a slate-breaking score of over 29 fantasy points on DraftKings. Penny also landed on Runpure Sports member the Man 11's 100K winning lineup on FanDuel, continuing the trend of six-figure hits for RPS members. On our Sunday morning Wood Show, Hoop body bagged everyone with his Hunter Renfrow call. Congrats to him for sticking to his guns with his rich parents play of the day while everyone else made fun of him. Renfrow went on to have a monster 30-point day for the Hoopster.
This one with my boy Runpure, I just cannot wait. Cannot wait. And this could be it because I'm feeling good about it, where he gets that 30 piece. How many guys in the NFL go for 30? Like, there's not many guys.
And he's not going to be one of them. I'll tell you that, Hoop. But you'll get.
You finally jumped in. Thank you.
Oh, he flipped on me.
BigT continued the good mojo Sunday night with his call to start Jakeem Grant in Sunday night's Showdown slate.
The guy that's going to win the slate, I'm always good when I pop in at the last second like this, is Jakeem Grant. Mark my words.
Runpure Sports member Anger Tornado joined BigT on the Jakeem Grant play to bank a first-place finish in the DraftKings Showdown tournament, taking home over $13,000. Also, big congrats to Runpure Sports member Swint, who took home $20K in MMA. Bad Lab joined our free MMA show the day of the event to lay out all of the best plays. Our guests have been killing it lately, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our free shows. If you are not already a Runpure Sports member, now is the best time to join. We partnered with SaberSim to offer a huge package deal where you can get access to all of Runpure Sports content along with SaberSim's industry-leading optimizer and projection system. So what are you waiting for? Join today and let's run pure.
What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo. Back for my favorite show of the week. It's the Off the Chalk Show. We're here. It's early. We're up. You guys are up with us. We definitely appreciate that. Hit that like button on the way in. You know we want that quick 100. Back with my boys, AP, feeling much better than last week. And then, of course, JT Hayes. JT, I missed you on Thursday, man. How you doing this week?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Was moving around a little bit during the week and had to scrap the Mayo show, but here early for breakfast on Sunday.
Yeah, we know the International Man of Mystery. You always got different things going on. We got a couple other guys before I bring AP in that, you know, our Miami mobsters, Big Tony 44 and South Beach Bobby Gomes down trying to win that FFWC $2.5 million up top this week. So for good mojo, hit that like button. Let them know that you support them. And AP, I'll bring you in. I know you're feeling much more chipper this week. How you doing?
Yeah, AP is officially out of the health and safety protocols while everyone else is going into them. If you've been following NBA this week, it's been an absolute shit show. And I can't tell you guys how excited I am to talk some football today because I'm, you know, later on, we're still doing the NBA content, but man, it's crazy. So and I know it's crazy in the NFL, but They just move the games. In the NBA, they find whoever, you know, Joe Schmo off the street to come in and play, and it makes things kind of difficult. So excited to be here this morning and excited to find the winners.
Yeah, we're going to find the winners for sure. We're going to pick them as we go along. Same as every week, go through tier by tier, quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, and even a little DST at the end. Talk about the chalk, what we're doing with it, how we're getting different, some leverage plays, things like that. So we'll hop into it here pretty quick, but I just thought, you know, for starters, like you said, for those that are maybe living under a rock and finally just joining us here on this early Sunday morning, I highly doubt that, but there has been games moved off the slate to AP's point, right? We're down to a 9-game slate. We do get a lot more football now over the football, the holiday season, I should say. I think it was now with yesterday, it was 8 games or 8 days of games out of the next 10 that we end up getting football, which is awesome. So a lot of 2 gamers. We'll have all the content for you here over at Runpure Sports. If you guys haven't hit the subscribe button in the bottom right as well, that little red button, subscribe to get all the updates, all the free shows. But let's get into it, guys. We do still have 9 games to talk about that we're relating this towards. We'll start at the quarterback position this week. And I'll start with you, AP. We've got Kyler Murray up top showing a bunch of ownership. Obviously, some other guys behind that. I think in cash games, the decision is going to be Josh Allen versus Tua. And then you're getting a little love to Dak Prescott and some others sort of sprinkled down below. But it looks like Kyler pretty popular off the top. What are your thoughts here at this quarterback position this week?
Yeah, I mean, Kyler, he looked even, quicker than normal. Usual last week, it seemed like running for his life. Finally gets a nice cupcake matchup here against the Lions. It looks like James Conner might be a little beat up. So, I mean, I could definitely see Kyler running one in. Like he just feels like one of the safer options at quarterback this week. I want to only like play one of these guys in Josh Allen or Kyler up top just to get overweight, because I do feel both of them are going to be fairly popular. I do think Kyler is the guy that I'm siding with. I mean, it just seems like the Lions, defensively just continue to give up tons of points. I know like game script might not be like that great for a Kyler Murray, but we know it doesn't really matter. I mean, like he can run one in, he can throw one. I mean, it's just, I just feel like the safety, the floor, and everything is just so strong there with Kyler Murray. I actually have some interest in Joe Burrow too. I feel like this is an interesting week to get off of some of the chalk at quarterback. And I might be playing some dusty quarterback plays, which I know we'll get to some of the dust down there here in a little bit. But the other guy I'm looking at is Joe Burrow. So I know the Broncos are very good defensively at home, and they've been tough on quarterbacks. However, I know the script here is going to be good for Burrow. I do think the Bengals are going to be playing from behind. I love the price tag. He's just been a machine at throwing for over 300 yards. He's done that the past 2 weeks. The touchdowns have been a little light, and all it takes is to get a couple of them and to get the right script. So Joe Burrow 6'1", you can correlate him with 2 of his pass catchers. Really easy in this matchup. You can run it back with one of the running backs on the Broncos side. So that's going to be a correlation I like quite a bit. I'm not sure what to do with Dak yet. I want to play Dak, but at the same time, I don't want to play Dak. So I'm kind of curious to see if you guys bring him up and where you're at. But as far as spend up options or mid-tier and spend up, it's Kyler Murray and it's Joe Burrow for me.
I'm glad you brought up Joe Burrow there, because we have our resident Joe Burrow whisperer here, Mr. JT Hayes. So I'll flip it right over to you, JT, to talk about that. And then talk to me about the Kyler play at the top. Josh Allen's up there, like I mentioned as well. And then Tua. Tua seems easily stackable this week, but sometimes that makes for a little bit chalkier stacking options across the board. And then if you're going to just plug in the running backs when we get them, I can tell you this week for me, not to cut you off, but just real quick, this is not going to be an on the chalk week. It's off the chalk show for a reason, and I'm certainly off most of it. But go ahead, JT. What do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. It leads exactly into the way that I'm thinking here, which is you've got Kyler and Josh Allen, who should be leading most of these games. Arizona likes to run the ball when they get ahead. And I've spent the last week kicking myself for not just playing, instead of just Melvin Gordon, also Javonte Williams against the Lions in that game last week. And now we have a situation where, guess what? We can correct that and do it this week with James Conner and Chase Edmonds in a game that the Cardinals should control. We've seen how terrible the Lions are against the rush. It's going to be cold. It's going to be potentially nasty up in Buffalo. And Josh Allen's, 8.1K. So I think that's a game where they should lead pretty handily. The Jets have been the worst defense in the league, especially over the last 6 weeks of the season. And I think you have to have interest in Tua and in particular Myles Gaskin. I really don't like playing these quarterbacks in Denver, but this is a non-divisional game. And I do think that it's going to be a competitive game. And it sets up pretty well for Joe Burrow. But I think this is a week because projections are lower and because the mean projection is pretty condensed amongst a lot of guys. There's a number of different ways that you can go down at the lower end, and two guys that I'm looking at for multi-entry that I'm not hearing talked about much. The Titans are playing the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Ben has been really good lately, had a really good game in Minnesota. He's been better at home. We, I think, are all going to be interested in Deontay Johnson once again. He's going to get his normal, 15 targets. So Ben and Tannehill, with really not much in the backfield, are a little bit interesting to me as well, multi-entry. I think it's a week where I'm going to spread it out, and I'm not going to be focused on the two highest owned guys who are going to be Josh and Kyler.
Yeah, I kind of like a lot of things you said there. And we've got some other spots we'll get to later to build value in, but you just talked about, like, Kyler is way up there. Yet when you flip over to running back, which we're not going to move to just yet, we've got other quarterbacks to go through. But I just think in general, the minute you move over to running back, I'm like, where's James Conner? Where's Chase Edmonds? You talked about it. It's literally the same matchup that just got smashed last week. It's like a 13 or 14 point spread. Nobody seemingly wants to go there because of the late Conner news, and they're worried about it. But you can play both. You can pick one or the other. Edmonds is cheaper. If you just want to go that way, there's plenty of ways you can go about it to leverage the Kyler situation. And if you don't feel good playing Kirk, or if you don't want to play Zach Ertz, or you don't want to play, try and decide between these guys, Antoine Wesley, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, AJ Green. I didn't know last week was going to be AJ Green, get you 10,000 yards week. I mean, that's tough to pick through. We've talked about this plenty of times. The one thing I will say about Kyler is I definitely like him more on FanDuel. And we don't do enough conversation on this show around both sites and site dependent. And the reason I say that is because on DraftKings, I just named all those receivers, and it's super tough to stack and pick through to find out who's going to get it. Wesley could have 3 for 100, and just that's the way it shakes out. And then you need him. On FanDuel, I like just putting Kyler with Ertz. Hope that Ertz gets 2 touchdowns. I know he was added to the injury report on Friday, but it came off and said he's all good to go for the game. It came out earlier this morning. So I'm happy about that over on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I think I'll just leverage up and play those running backs, JT, like you mentioned. And then just going down the board some, I love that you brought up Big Ben. I was going to talk about that. I think, again, you've got Freiermuth, you've got Claypool, you've got Johnson. And if you flip over to running back, who's everyone want to play? There's only one expensive running back this week that everyone's migrating towards, and that's Najee Harris. Not to say he's a bad play, just saying you could definitely see it where they go through the air instead here. So I'll talk about some other guys after, but AP, you said you had some dusty ones down there. Want to keep you involved in here in the conversation. What about some of those guys you've got down at the bottom?
Yeah. Yeah. The dusty ones, Davis Mills is one of them. He's fighting for playing time right now, fighting for his job. Threw the ball almost 50 times last week. And, the Jags, they're going to be a popular defense is what it looks like. So if you're playing James Robinson, and if you want to take it a little bit further and get off the chalk, you could run it back with the Davis Mills, Brandon Cooks stack. I mean, Cooks has been the one guy that's been getting it done for him. So I do think that's kind of interesting. And this game, it could be dusty, and you could be playing into the narrative a little bit, but I'll throw Trevor Lawrence into the mix too. I just feel like the Jags, now that Urban Meyer is out of there, maybe we see these players play up. Maybe we see them play hard and get it going this week. So I don't know if that's a popular narrative at all. I've been in the NBA streets most of the week, but for me, it looks kind of interesting. One of the other ones you guys mentioned, but Big Ben. Big Ben has looked good, and I like what I've seen over the past few weeks. He's been getting after teammates, been calling people out. He's been, getting after his line. I forget what game it was, but he was just getting sacked over and over. And, he kept getting back up, and he's still fat. He's still big, but he's looked a little better. Decent matchup here. I like that call. Trying to think of not playing Tua. I do think Tua is going to be kind of that popular quarterback. I don't really want to go there. As far as other dusty options I was looking at, I think that is it. I know someone in chat talked or mentioned Aaron Rodgers. He was one of the other guys that is spending up that I was looking at. And I'm kind of with you guys. Kyler Murray, especially in tournaments, it's so easy to play him. You got to feel like he's going to be one of the popular guys up there. And we can see Connor Edmonds, like JT Hayes said. I mean, last week I was really high on the Denver running backs, but I did not pair them together, which ended up being a mistake. That would have been an absolute printer in tournaments. My one fear in doing that in this matchup is Kyler Murray can vulture touchdowns at the goal line too. So you have quite the risk there. And I do have one running back in this game that I like more than the other, which we'll get to. But any of you guys, what are you guys doing with Aaron Rodgers this week?
I was going to bring him up. He brought it up in the chat. I love him. So two of the other guys, I'll start going through mine now, and then JT, I'll flip it back to you for final thoughts. Again, only 9 games, but still the same amount of positions to go through here. But I think for me, the two others, Jimmy G, why are we not looking at guys against Atlanta? We've been doing it all season. We should be every week. I think there's easily guys you can put with him between Mitchell being out. So you've got Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, maybe separate Debo and Kittle just because it gets expensive at that point. And it's probably tough for both to find the ceiling, but I like Ayuk and Kittle or just Debo, and you don't have to double stack. There's just so many ways you can go about it there. And then of course, Aaron Rodgers. I think Adams is going to be popular, but is it going to be popular to play Aaron Rodgers, Adams, and then I like putting in MBS, waiting on the news. And if he ends up being out in the afternoon, you can just easily swap it down to Lazard and leave the money, or use that $900 to upgrade elsewhere. So I'm perfectly fine going with him. And I like that play quite a bit, actually. But the one you brought up, AP, that I love, and I've talked about this on 2 different shows, but I didn't get to talk about it with either of you. So I'm going to bring it up. And for those watching for the first time, this James Robinson, unlock James Robinson week thing that's going on. Darren Bevel is the offensive coordinator that's taking over the interim coaching job. And I had to look him up to find out this stat. I thought this was a pretty funny one because I actually happened to be at this Super Bowl, but everyone says, hey, he's going to run this guy so much and blah, blah, blah. Like the big thing for me, you went back and looked, he's actually the guy that made the play call swap in the Super Bowl to not run it with Marshawn Lynch and instead throw an interception that ended the Super Bowl in the Seattle versus New England Patriots event a few years back. So maybe he's not going to unleash that. And wouldn't it be hilarious if this is the week they unleash their quarterback or unleash LaVisca, who we've been waiting to see all year round, and all of a sudden he ends up getting end arounds and 10 targets and all these factors. So I really do like Trevor Lawrence here. It's obviously one of the best leverage plays on the entire slate based on the fact that James Robinson's going to be pushing 50% plus in high dollar and probably honestly close to 40% even in something like the $20 Millie Maker. So there's 3 ways, I guess. Trevor Lawrence stacks off of Robinson, Houston defense against Robinson, or just avoid it altogether. But I'm obviously having some conviction in that. So he's one of the dusty guys I'll throw on my list. So for me, and then JT Hayes, I'll let you round it out. Josh Allen, Jimmy G, Trevor Lawrence, Ben, and Aaron Rodgers. That's my 5 guys that I'm rolling with this week on a 9-game slate. I'll definitely be heavier on the Jimmy G, Josh Allen type plays, Aaron Rodgers, than I will those 2 at the bottom. But that's the guys that I like for this week. JT Hayes, final thoughts at the quarterback position?
Yeah, one thing on Jacksonville, I think the point that you bring up is something that I've been thinking about, which is Bevell has been the guy calling the plays here, right? He's been the offensive coordinator. He's the guy that's given James Robinson like 6 touches last week and that didn't use him in the first game of the season against this same team. So I think we all see in the industry and the field sees what Rashad Penny did to the Texans, and they think, oh my God, 5.4K on DraftKings, James Robinson going to do the exact same thing. Doesn't make these guys better players. Urban Meyer being gone doesn't mean that the playbook is going to be that much better, because there are some interviews and some people that believe that Urban Meyer didn't even know who was on the field most of the time. So Trevor Lawrence did well in this first matchup, and it's possible. Maybe Trevor Lawrence throws 35 times. There's other running backs. Even though Carlos Hyde is out, there are other running backs that they can throw in here. There are different ways that they could go in this game plan. And then the thing about Rodgers, I think Rodgers is fine, especially at low ownership, but I'm kind of a little bit more interested in the correlation between Green Bay's defense and Aaron Jones.
Yeah, that could be a way to go as well. We're going to segue into running back anyway. So if you want to take over, JT, because you did kind of tie in the James Robinson piece there, which, by the way, is showing about 40% in $20, Millie Maker style tournament. And just last thoughts, because it was in the chat, Lawrence is definitely off the chalk and pretty crazy to play today, but there's different ways you can go about it. Talk about this all the time with the cheap value guys or someone at his price tag. You don't need to go all in on this stack. You don't need to run Marvin Jones, James O'Shaughnessy, and run it back and do all you don't have to do that. but you could. I'm just saying you can also just go something like Lawrence and LaVisca and stack in everybody that you want to play. You're already unique by going with him and a receiver and getting off Robinson. That's the whole point. If you see a lack of value out there, you can now fit everybody that you want into your lineup. You don't have to get extremely contrarian at that point because you're already off. And if he gets 20 points, Lawrence, that is, and he connects with the guy you've plugged him in with for 20 points, that's 40 from that combo, something nobody else has. And you got now all the money in the world to stack elsewhere. There's Jones, Chenault, Treadwell, O'Shaughnessy. Boom. There's your 4 guys. You're getting off Robinson to leverage the field. That's just my thoughts there. But JTAs, keep going there with running back. We got Najee, who I mentioned earlier, obviously Robinson, Gaskin, Michael Carter getting a little love coming off the IR. And then you talked about using some of those Green Bay guys off the chalk like Aaron Jones. Go ahead and go through the running back position for us.
Yeah, Aaron Jones is 6,600 on DraftKings. Doesn't look like he's going to get much interest at all. Yes, A.J. Dillon is there, but I think he gets a lot of the work. He had a decent game last week. Looks like he's fully healthy. And this Ravens team is a team that you can have success on the ground. They're a little bit banged up, and they're going to be, it looks like, playing this kid Huntley again. Nice game against the Bears. The Green Bay Packer defense is a little bit different than I think the Chicago Bears defense. So I like him. I like the Arizona guys. And if you get the news, right, if you get the news, let's say that James Conner, I expect James Conner to play. Let's say there's news that he's limited. Conner 6,100, pretty easy pivot to another team that we liked last week, the Denver running backs, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. Good matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals give up a lot on the ground, and the Broncos really don't want the ball in Teddy Bridgewater's hands. So I like those plays. I think back to Jacksonville, James Robinson, really, really difficult to roster. If you're playing, I think, a single lineup, I'd definitely stay away from him. In multi-entry, I'm going to be way underweight just because I think there are other running back plays. You mentioned Myles Gaskin. I like Myles Gaskin quite a bit. We've seen teams do the same thing to the Jets that we are seeing teams do to the Detroit Lions, which is just absolutely run all over them. And with Jalen Waddle looking like he is definitely going to miss this game, there's a good chance that they put the ball in Gaskin's hands a little bit more than they ordinarily would. So that kind of rounds out my interest in running back. And then you mentioned one more guy, Najee Harris. I do think they're leaning more on trusting Ben. And Tennessee has been a bit difficult to run the ball on, but they've given up an awful lot of points to opposing quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Yeah, and I like that. And, even earlier when you brought the Arizona guys, someone in the chat mentioned, I just think it's a good call as well. But like Edmonds is the cheaper of the two. So I'm actually just fine with it. When you kind of think they're in a great position, it could be both of them. If you think both can get there, I often side with the cheaper guy anyway. We saw it last week. Melvin Gordon was cheaper than Javonte, ends up coming in and doing his thing. And yes, Javonte still crushed, could have played both. I know our guy, Big T, speaking to him earlier down at the FFWC last week, he played in one of those queues. He came in second, almost got a second seat by playing both the Denver backs with the Denver defense. And I think that would definitely be in play again this week. If you're good and comfortable with rostering James Conner, you can put him there with Chase Edmonds and put that expensive Arizona D and then see where you land elsewhere. I mean, they're pivots. Those two running backs are right in the same mix of James Robinson. So you're kind of doing yourself a good service there by getting way under on ownership, but having a spot where they could just go off and see a repeat of last week. AP, same guys at the top, and then other guys you want to talk about here at the running back position this week.
Yeah, I like what JT had to say about James Robinson. It just look at this Houston secondary. Like, it's just absolutely decimated. Tons of injuries. They weren't good to begin with. And now they're just, if you just pull it up and if you look at like who's going to start in their secondary, it's just like, wow. And so I think the easiest path is going to be Lawrence to his pass catchers. And then just go and look at, like, relative to projected ownership, go and look at James Robinson's volume all season long. There's been a few games. I mean, his most rushes out of the backfield, 18 total touches. It looks like right around 20, maybe 21 in one game against Arizona. I just think that given, when you factor in price, he's such an easy play, which is going to push up ownership. But when you bring everything else into the picture, That's a lot of ownership on a narrative. And then when you look at how this Jags team could get it done against the Texans, it looks easy through the air. So I do think there is a potential for bust. I might be with JT on being under on Robinson. And then it's the other interesting thing about running back this week. There aren't a lot of just like really strong spend up options, I mean, and the guys that are up there, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, are projected to be somewhat lower owned. So I'm going to have interest in these guys. Joe Mixon, in scripts and in builds where I think the Bengals can get a lead. We've seen what they do with Joe Mixon. I know it's tough to do that there in Denver, but if they can, and I'm going to build a few builds like this, they're going to hand it and they're just going to pound the rock with Joe Mixon. And at 7-2 on this slate where running back seems a little thin, he could be a really great option there. I love the Aaron Jones call off of Rodgers to Adams stacks. We've all seen Aaron Jones have those games. He's definitely capable of having a game like that in this matchup. And then, one of the running backs I really like is Chase Edmonds. This is a guy that's coming back. He should be fresh. We've seen what happens when these running backs come back with fresh legs relative to guys that have been the workhorse back for a while now, which is what James Conner has been. This is the perfect opportunity to just let, to give Conner, and this is speculation, sure, but to ease up Conner's workload and just let Edmonds do his thing. So I definitely see 2 touchdown upside. We saw 4 total touchdowns from the running backs last week against this Lions team. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we see something like that again today. And then Najee Harris, like JT also said, he's someone I'm interested in. But man, the Titans, that defensive front has been really good. And so I don't know. It might be like a week where I leave some salary on the table and just like, I play whatever the best plays are. And if I end up leaving a chunk of salary on the table and doing so, I'm going to be content with it.
Yeah, and the chat's bringing up our boy Snyder and Desify talking about AJ Dillon. I like that call. I think one of the things about that is it's definitely a spot where one of these Green Bay backs can get there. The thing about it is that you don't know which one it's going to be. But just a couple weeks ago, when we had that day where it was, everyone was playing AJ Dillon, then Aaron Jones all of a sudden was ruled back in. It still ended up being a 20-point DK point AJ Dillon day. So they're not afraid to still use him, whether they've got Aaron Jones there or not. He's a big boy, man. He can run through a lot of stuff. And we always talk about this. Listen, it's the week before Christmas. It's getting later in the season, colder out there. It's definitely an opportunity where you could see them just run him out there and he could take off with it. So I like that call. Some of the guys for me, and I thought someone brought up a good point in the chat. I think it was Miles. Yeah, like if you want to go to like a Myles Gaskin or even a guy, I'm going to talk about the other side of that Green Bay-Baltimore game, Devontae Freeman has been getting a lot of work. He's another pivot right there to James Robinson, and that's how you do it. If you've been watching over here at Runpure Sports throughout the season, we do the weekly review show, and that's how you're looking to build out your lineups, right? You've got a spot where you're going to go Lawrence for leverage over Robinson, and instead of Robinson, use the pivot. You're sort of doubling up on the leverage over the field by saying, I'm not only going to go with the passing game over the running game, but I'm also going to pivot off the spot where most people are using this price back in James Robinson, and you've got yourself a good setup there. So that's some of the stuff I like to talk about. I do like that spot. Going down Jeff Wilson. I know it's an experiment. We've tried it. It hasn't worked, but maybe third time's the charm. Elijah Mitchell out again. I think he's an option. Another guy that's definitely off the chalk just below them there, Deontay Foreman in that Pittsburgh. If you want to, in that Pittsburgh game, if you want to use Ben, you want to use Deontay, and you want to use Freiermuth, or just use Ben and Deontay or Claypool or something along those lines, I definitely think running it back with Foreman, or when we get to the wide receiver position, maybe Julio Jones. I'm talking about these guys where you need them to get lucky and break this big play. But if they do, we see it so many times. That's what speeds up the game flow. That's what gives us the back and forth opportunity where we can get a guy like Ben to actually hit his ceiling, or at least get close to it and beat some of the other guys on the slate point per dollar. So I do like some of those. And then JT Hayes, I want to get thoughts on one more guy here. Zeke going against the Giants. It looks like this morning, I know I forget how to say it, even plantar fascia or whatever that Pollard has, he's still going to go. I saw this morning. So you do have him back into the mix, but Zeke, 7,300 on DraftKings, not a lot of talk, and then really cheap over on FanDuel at 6,700. What are your thoughts on him here this week?
I think it's tough. I think it's tough to roster him. Corey Clement was the guy that subbed in for Pollard last week. Got a lot of the work until the game got close. It's difficult to see this game being close, even though it is in New Jersey. And I've said this before, games in that stadium tend to overwhelm offensively. I don't know why. I think it probably has a lot to do with the teams that play in it as home teams. But so I won't be interested in Zeke. One guy I didn't mention, yes, 9.5-point spread, but Cordy Patterson has been the engine for the Atlanta Falcons. He's just 6'9". He's only eligible at running back, but he splits out as a wide receiver almost half the time. And if the Falcons keep this game anywhere remotely close, even if they keep it within 10 points, it's going to be because Cordy Patterson has somewhere in the neighborhood of a 20 DraftKings point game.
Because Cordy Patterson, I love it. Yeah. You know, that's another call. We just, every week, you know, you just look at the TV and watch Red Zone or whatever you're seeing it like, oh, Cordarrelle Patterson again. This guy just doesn't stop. How does he keep doing it? Maybe he's just good. Maybe that's what it comes down to, because every week it seems like he's just burning you out of the gate. You see it so early and often. Just going back, I think some guys, based on the likes today, and hurtful, 400 watching. Guys, last show before Christmas, all I want for Christmas, give you a couple seconds right now. Take that minute, get the like in it, just hit the button. That's all we got to do. I want 250 likes for Christmas. If you can do me that one favor, I would truly appreciate it. We love you guys here getting up early with us for the Off the Chalk Show. I know everyone's lagging a little bit. It was the holiday weekend, so everyone's probably, you know, drinks are flowing, money blowing, coming into the weekend, trying to get things rolling. So I think it's good, but let's get those likes up here. One of the things you said there at the end, just around that, was Cordarrelle Patterson. And like you said, in that game, not enough people are talking about, I think he can be your run back, right? For the Jimmy G stacks, or if you want to just go Jimmy G and Kittle and have Patterson, there's just a lot of ways that you can go about it. And the chat absolutely hates the Julio call. So maybe we'll move on and talk about wide receiver, and we can get to that. AP, any final thoughts at running back? And then if not, just bring us into wide receiver.
The only other one, Michael Carter, is another guy that's on my list. Cheap. I just think that, man, Zach Wilson, really bad. Michael Carter, when he's been in there, has looked good. So if they're going to do anything against this Miami team, it would be through Michael Carter, in my opinion. Really cheap, but I don't think salary is going to matter for me when at the running back position this week. So I'm not sure how much I'll have of him, but I think he's interesting.
For sure. Okay, so wide receiver, I'll let you start us off, AB, but give you the Cole's notes here. Devontae Parker, obviously very popular with Waddle out. I got Gabriel Davis looking like $3,700. He's going to be by far the most popular value play, I think, in cash games, things like that. He'll just be a plug and play. And then Devontae Adams, now that Cup's off the slate. I was going to say it earlier. Nick DePalmo came in and said, how about Sony? Yeah, not on the slate anymore, Nick. Appreciate you joining us. Welcome to Sunday. There's only 9 games. 2 of them got moved. That's one of them. So we don't have to worry about those Rams this week. Definitely we'll be talking about them over here at Runpure Sports throughout the week. But AP, Parker, Davis, Adams, maybe some Diggs, Deontay. What do you got here at wide receiver position?
Yeah, the chalk up top, I definitely want to eat is Devontae Adams. I just think he's so safe, has upside to break the slate. I definitely want exposure to that. As far as these cheapies go, I'm definitely fine with it. I've no problems at all with Devontae Parker. I just, man, there's a lot of different receivers that the Dolphins have, and it's not like they love to throw the ball either. So I'm sure I'm going to have exposure, depending on what the ownership is. Am I excited about it? I don't know. It's just, he's one of those guys where I feel like, I feel like there is bust potential, but I'll be curious to see what you guys say on Devontae Parker. I do like, thinking back to running back, I do like Myles Gaskin. So I don't think like I'm going to have Parker in any builds where I have Gaskin or pieces of the running game here. So definitely an interesting spot. Others on my list, Jamar Chase. This is going to be a guy that I just continue to play. He got there last week twice. I think he can get there again. And he dropped the ball or missed a catch early on in that game too. It could have been 3 touchdowns. But Jamar Chase, just so much upside there. And with all of these cheap running backs, I almost want to get, I almost like the idea of getting 3 priced up or high quality receivers. And the top ones I'm looking at are Deebo Samuel, Jamar Chase, and then Devontae Adams. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make them all fit. But I do think that those guys are the three with the most upside on this slate. And then it's for me, as always, it's going to come down to stacking. Like, I think you have to have some interest in how many pass attempts this Texans team is going to have, or at least has, with Davis Mills. I don't think he's good at all, but all those looks are going to Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks. Those are two guys I definitely have interest in. And then on the other side of this game, I think you brought him up, Tambo, but Laviska Shenault, love him today, 4-3. I think he's a nice pivot off of Devontae Parker as well. Both are the same price tag. I believe Shenault projected to be a third of the ownership that Parker is. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the Dallas Cowboys receiving core. I think they are in a good spot. It's kind of a guessing game between Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup. So maybe one of you guys can talk me onto them. But really, it's up top for me. It's pretty easy. Devontae Adams is the guy that I feel is the safest, has the most upside. And then as far as tournaments go, I have a ton of interest in Deebo Samuel and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I really like the Deebo call brought up in the chat. When we get to tight end, Kittle is just extremely popular this week, and there is cheaper options, other options at tight end that you can use to save the money and also get you the money to go to a guy like Deebo. And we talked earlier, I brought up Jeff Wilson just to bring up the position, but Deebo, when Elijah Mitchell has been out, he's been their running back. And if there's happens to be that one game where they decide to use him for both, wide receiver that he is and running back, it's going to be an explosion at that price, and it can really break a slate on a 9-game slate. But JT Hayes, Devontae Parker, Gabriel Davis, to me, just feels like the cheap 6K golfer in PGA DFS, where when they just get, 20%, you just know they're not going to come through for you. That's kind of how I feel about Davis, but I know he makes a lot of things work. I like some of the other guys that AP brought up, but go ahead, JT Hayes, talk to us here about this wide receiver position.
Yeah, I don't think you need Gabriel Davis, and they still have, okay, Sanders is out. You still have Cole Beasley. You still have Dawson Knox. And you still have Stephon Diggs at just 7,700. And there's some talk about Allen being a bit banged up. I don't love the Singletary play simply because Carolina has been pretty decent against the run for the most part. They've been beaten pretty well through the air. But, I don't think I'm going to have much, if any, Gabriel Davis. I think there's a lot of other places you could go other than focusing ownership in a game that, like I said at the beginning of the show, was it's going to be in the mid-20s there. There's a potential that it could snow. And we've seen those games get very ugly and low scoring. So good chance this is like a 17-3 game there. And I don't think there's enough there to get me interested in Gabriel Davis. We talked about, I think AP brought up the pass catchers for the Cincinnati Bengals. I like them a lot. Tyler Boyd is even down at 4.9 there. You could play, well, that's a tight end, but you can play Uzoma, who's cheap as well. And, back to Jacksonville, Marvin Jones Jr., 4.6K. This is the guy that I think of anyone on the Jaguars who is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. It's going to be Marvin Jones Jr. He was the one that was getting in Urban Meyer's face, and 4,600, I think, is a pretty interesting price for him. I wrote up the San Francisco Atlanta game in the Gems article, and both of what you guys said. Deebo's been used almost exclusively as a runner over the course of the last 3 games that he's played. 22 rushes to 6 receiving targets. So, yes, anything can happen in Kyle Shanahan's offense. They could then turn around and feature him as a receiver, but you have Kittle healthy. You have Ayuk healthy. You still have Sherfield and all these other guys that they like to rotate in for a couple of snaps. That's the challenge to me with San Francisco today, is with everybody healthy, even though it's a really good matchup, who do you choose? You're going to think Kittle is going to go for another 35, 40-point performance after 2 in a row at the highest price point he's been and the highest ownership he's seen? I'm going to say no on that, right? So I think that Deebo is a bit interesting, even if they use him as a rusher or they get creative and use him in some sweeps and things like that. So other receivers, we've talked about this all season long, how difficult Arizona is to predict. Even though Hopkins is out, they do have a bunch of other options. Yeah, you could go Kirk, you could go Moore, but I also think this is a game where they run the ball a lot more. So Jerry Jeudy is interesting. Judy Sutton. Again, Denver's been so run heavy, though. You really need the perfect script there. and you need that game to go off. So if you're going to focus and play Judy or Sutton, then I think you want to have a game stack there of the Bengals.
Yeah, and I like a couple of the spots there. Judy at the end for sure. I think I'm fine with him even as a one-off, just because he can rack up the points. Doesn't matter. You don't have to get involved with those quarterbacks or things like that. I think that's awesome. A great call. The Marvin Jones Jr. point you brought up was great too, because I think he was the last conversation that Urban Meyer had with a team at the time, one of his players before he got fired, where they had to have a little man-to-man conversation, Marvin Jones said, and have it out with him a little bit. So like you said, that chip on the shoulder, I definitely think of that. So I think he's a great play there with Lawrence, who I mentioned earlier. You can go off of other plays there. Christian Kirk was brought up in the chat. He's not, people I think are going to go to AJ Green and Kirk, kind of have to make a decision there, or you could double stack with Kyler if you wanted. And then for me, the Debo thing, like you mentioned there, just right quick, is I think you do have to choose. And I think even if you're in MME and you're going to play both, I think you still separate them because they're just both so expensive. You normally don't see Debo have a big game when Kittle does, and vice versa. They're both extremely expensive. But I think, like I said, if you're looking for an explosion, we know what Kittle's explosion looks like. We've just seen it the last couple of weeks, but I honestly don't think we have seen Debo's yet in this position, because both games when Elijah Mitchell was out, he was almost exclusively featured as just a running back. What if they end up doing both? So that's kind of where I want to see it in that sense. So your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown is back in the mix. If you need a run back in that Arizona game, some guy named, he's back in play there. JT Hayes, if you want to roll it there. And then AP, just to answer your question earlier, I actually lean to, again, kind of like that mid-tier at the top, like I always like, but 7,400 is not cheap, but I do like CD Lamb. If you're going to pick a guy there, Cooper would worry me a little bit more. Gallup could be the guy, but I do like CD Lamb at 7,400 just to be a little bit unique. And I know he always goes overlooked. This is a great spot for him, a really good matchup. Anything else, AP, that you want to add here at the wide receiver position?
Yeah, I was just going to add that, we've been talking about JT Hayes' boy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, for many, many weeks now. No one knew who this guy was. Absolutely zero people knew. JT Hayes knew, and we knew because of JT Hayes. And look at this guy. He's 12 targets the last 2 weeks, and he's been playing good. I don't think I'm going to go there, but, he's definitely worth a mention. I do think, we have these spots where I just think it's interesting and it's important to talk about. Like, we have Gabe Davis, 3.7. He's a chalky value. We have Devontae Parker, chalky value at 4.3. However, like, those teams are highly, like, they have so many different guys that they can still go to. Then we have the Texans, dusty team, I know, but they have two receivers, in my opinion, and Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks. Everyone else on their team is just absolute dust. And they're going to be throwing the ball. So I do think I'm going to have interest in Nico Collins. I like the 10 targets he had last week. And then Brandon Cooks has just quietly been a machine. It looks like he could get some ownership. But, receiver is definitely in an interesting position to talk about this week.
Yeah, I want to go back to you, JT, and talk about some of these values, because the Gabe Davis situation you already talked on, but it's getting brought up in the chat, right, at 3,700 with Sanders out. 20% is not that much. If he's pushing 30, he's going to be higher in the higher dollar, smaller field stuff. So definitely be a decision you have to make. For me, I personally don't see a lot of good pivots. And I think the pivot to me is actually roster construction and looking at building with some of these guys that we talked about in that 4K range that aren't Devontae Parker. We've talked about Marvin Jones. We didn't talk about Rondale Moore, who could be in a good spot there. Obviously, Hopkins is out. He's a guy that they could use. There's not as many guys in the 3K range that I like, but there's more. LaVisca, who we talked about, Lazard or MBS, whoever ends up playing there. If MBS is in, I like that. So I think there's more options in roster construction than there is in trying to find a $3,700 pivot. But what are your thoughts on that and just value in general at the wide receiver position this week?
Yeah, so it's exactly that, right? It's roster construction, because the lineup that you have Gabe Davis in is the lineup that you have Josh Allen or Kyler with James Robinson, and then you're going to spend up, right? You're going to go Kittle, Devontae Adams, yeah. Right? So, and I don't think that's necessary. I don't think you need Gabe Davis, and I don't like the game environment. That doesn't mean that I won't have him in a couple of lineups in MME just in case I'm dead wrong, but I really don't think I will be. I think that this sets up as a different kind of game, and they're not in Tampa Bay, right? It's a different game environment there. So me personally, I don't think I need a whole bunch. I might need or just have one or two of these guys in the 4K range. If you pay down at quarterback to a game that's expected to be a closer game environment where your quarterback might be pushed and have to throw more, giving them a better opportunity to get that 300-yard bonus, get more touchdowns, I think that's the way to go this week. That gives you the opportunity to say, all right, do I want to pay up and go to a Mixon or a Harris, right? Do I want Deebo Samuel, who's going to be much lower owned than George Kittle and Devontae Adams? If you want Adams, that's fine. I tend to think that Green Bay game is going to be slow and ugly. Two teams that play slow and ugly, especially with the Ravens likely not to have Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, Devontae Adams, we just saw him go off. If he gets you 20, I don't want to be paying $9K for 20. So my roster construction is going to take me a little bit differently, and it's going to take me, for the most part, off of Gabe Davis and certainly off a guy like Laquan Treadwell, who someone's mentioning in chat. I don't think this is a spot to go to the third or fourth player on the Jaguars today.
Yeah, we talked too about MV. Oh, you got Marvin Jones Jr. and then you got Laviska. You know, James O'Shaughnessy, who we'll get to here in a second. There's just, you don't have to go all that way. If he has the game, that's awesome. But again, then you got to get all the other pieces right. And like I always talk about, like, don't show me your one lineup that, I told you it was going to be Treadwell, but I just didn't get this right. Well, then you should have had him in all 20 of your 20 max if you were feeling the Treadwell play, because then you might actually have a shot to find one of those lineups that can get you to the top if he is your explosion game, the word of the day. So my boy Felix, though, from the RPS Discord, if you're not in there, not sure why. It's Christmas time. Get someone to buy it for you if you can't. I don't care what. We've got promos all the time. There'll be new codes coming out. We just partnered with Saber Sim. Lots of stuff going on, guys. But he just sent me this longest streak of 100 yards. Devontae Adams is chasing to go 4 games in a row here with the 100-plus yards for a 4th straight game. Longest to tie up with James Lofton and Don Hudson. So I would say this. It ties into something else I wanted to bring up there. If I was using Adams and Gabe Davis and James Robinson, I would set a group in my optimizer to use at most 1. That way you can still play them if you want to play them, but you're not getting the exact same build everyone else is using them to make work. And that's what it comes down to for me. Just a simple little rule to get different. At most 1 of those 3 very popular plays this week that are correlated in the sense that they literally make the other one work. If you play Gabe Davis, you can afford Adams. If you have Adams, now you need a cheap value running back. Robinson makes the most sense, is getting hyped up the most, has the best props, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's how I would look to do it there. AP, anything else at wide receiver, or we got to move on here to tight end? And guys, we're so close to 200 likes. I want 250 plus. Let's keep hitting that like button. We got over 500 watching now. AP.
Yeah, no, I think we did a good job. Are we moving on, tight end?
Yeah, we will. We can move on to tight end. We talked about George Kittle. He's right up there at the top, even at the $7,500 price tag, which is quite interesting when you look back to the last, 4 or 5 weeks now, where we're always looking for the cheap guy of the week. It's really comes down to, what you're going to do with your roster construction, but he's showing up around 20%, give or take. And then you got Gesicki and James O'Shaughnessy coming in right after.
Yeah, Kittle. I mean, tight end is so volatile typically. And I want to say Kittle had some just nut game scripts there in those games. And I don't know if that's going to be the case against the Falcons here. So I love Kittle. Kittle is an absolute GOAT, but I do think the floor is low unless he's in the right script. So, I mean, if you're going to play him, I think you have to like pieces on the Falcons side, which I just don't today. So I'm probably going to be off of him. James O'Shaughnessy, I have some interest in him. I'll be honest. I'll be 100% transparent. Like, I'm a little lost at tight end this week. There's not a lot of guys I like. Mike Gesicki looks like the other guy that's going to be chalk. I'm not in love with that spot. Maybe Pat Freiermuth, the Pittsburgh guy, the rookie. He's looked good at times. Not a safe option at all. I think James O'Shaughnessy, just such a good matchup here. Trevor Lawrence has looked his way, often in these games, and I like Lawrence today. I do think he's capable of having a big day, and I think a touchdown to O'Shaughnessy is a reasonable expectation against the Texans here. Pitts is another guy. The targets are still there. We haven't seen a game in a while, but we know at least on the Falcons side that the script is going to be positive for him. So I think if I'm getting off some of the chalkier plays, I'd look at him. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say, because I do not feel very good about the tight end position this week.
All you got to do, watch this. I'll say it again. His face will smile again. Kyle Pitts. He just can't not smile when you say the name. Go ahead,
Kyle
JT.
Pitts.
As soon as you say it, he starts smirking over there. He's the ATL guy. We got to hear this. So go ahead, talk to us about Kyle Pitts. Wouldn't it be something, JT Hayes, opposite of the chalk, George Kittle, and it ends up being an explosion game for Kyle Pitts at just 5,500, and he fits that mid-tier build we're talking about, where you don't need to use those value plays. You can just balance it out nicely. So go ahead, man. Talk to us about Kyle Pitts and the rest of the tight end position.
So I got two questions. One, AP, you said you weren't interested in any Falcons, and then you said Kyle Pitts.
I know. Maybe one. Maybe no, two. Cordell Patterson and Kyle Pitts. That's the only two guys that they have, right?
So how many weeks did we come in here and I said, I hate Matt Ryan. I hate the Falcons. This is not a week to play them. How many weeks?
Often. What week are we on? 14?
Here is my off the chalk call of the day. I think the Falcons compete here. I like Kyle Pitts today.
I like it.
I like Kyle Pitts. I like Gesicki. I'm going to fade George Kittle after those monster performances. I think this is going to be a slower paced game, potentially. But the Falcons, and I might be crazy but I don't usually get into this. Oh, I like the Falcons, so I'm going to play the Falcons. There's something about their prices. They should get their doors blown off. They just won on the road in Carolina. But interesting there, the Falcons on the road, 5-2 record. Niners at home, 2-4. Don't know that that's anything more than a product of matchups, but it's just an interesting spot here. I don't know that as volatile as the Niners have been, they should be 10-point favorites in this matchup. So in a couple of lineups, I'm going to have this as a game stack with Kyle Pitts involved.
Yeah, and I like the secondary stack options here. So you mentioned Pitts, but someone just brought it up in the chat. I was going to say this about the James O'Shaughnessy one I'll get to in a second, but you can have Pitts with Ayuk. You could have Pitts with Jeff Wilson. I do like using these secondary correlations with a little bit of a cheaper guy, right? You could do it with Debo just because you think he's going to be a running back. It's a little bit okay, but I don't always love it with I don't love an Andrews Adams, for example, because I think if Adams has his ceiling day, then you better have one of Huntley or Rodgers in there to create it all to make it happen and get that ceiling output in large field tournaments. I do like with the James O'Shaughnessy one, though, mix and match some of the thoughts here. When AP was talking about wide receiver, Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, these guys are cheap. And so is James O'Shaughnessy. And James O'Shaughnessy, even at 10% ownership, is still a great little leverage spot here over Robinson. And for those in the chat earlier, which Alex said, you know what, I can't disagree with him. Like he said, I don't think you need to go to Trevor Lawrence. You don't have to go to him, but you can still get there in a different way. Just leave him off, play James O'Shaughnessy with Nico Collins or Cooks, have a good little secondary stack in there for cheap, and you don't need Gabe Davis. You don't need James Robinson, and then you can get away with still using a guy like Adams. So I like that. I don't love the chalk here at tight end. I like the Mark Andrews call. Huntley certainly leans on him, and we saw that. I think he makes sense. CJ Uzoma and Fant are a couple guys on opposite sides of that Cincy-Denver game I could see getting involved. And then Kyle Pitts, I was going to be with you on it. So if we're all in here on Kyle Pitts and at least mentioning him, and if JT Hayes is telling you he thinks it's going to be a Kyle Pitts day, I would get on Kyle Pitts. I'm telling you, I've been with this guy all season. That's why I brought up the smirk. He loves to tell me he's terrible and he's never going to do shit with Atlanta because they can't figure it out and blah, blah, blah. So if he's saying get in on Kyle Pitts, get in on Kyle Pitts. I'm going to look the props up right after this. AP, any other thoughts at the tight end position? And we'll move on to DST. 200 likes even as we speak, 550 watching. All I want for Christmas, 250 plus likes to get to the next show. So please help me out with that. It's free. Likes are free still, for sure. Click the button. AP, final thoughts at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are getting me excited over here. I might go full Dusty at quarterback too. I might have to add Matt Ryan to my quarterback pool.
Oh gosh.
I mean, if we like Pitts, if we like Gage, the game script's going to be right. I mean, there are worse plays
Atlanta guys to adding the quarterback.
It's a full stack.
Full stack, all in. It went from saying I hate him, I don't like any pieces, to all in. Let's go. No, I think tight end is solid. It's just going to be one of those spots I have as in with my primary correlation. So that's going to be a common theme for me. So if I'm on Kyle Pitts, I might have to give Matt Ryan a look, and then I can run it back with my boy Debo that I like. Hopefully he gets some work in the passing game this week. But I love the touches out of the backfield for sure.
All right, so do we. David said, it hurts me to say I love Rodgers today. Yeah, so do we. We talked about Rodgers, all the guys that we can make work. We mentioned that, but let's move to defense here. We've got about 10 minutes left, guys. We're riding through it a little bit quicker just because the 9-game slate, so maybe not as many spots to talk about, but it gives us some room at the end to talk about some more things. Throw in the chat if you guys have any questions. If there's any that stand out to me, I'll try and get to them as well. But JT Hayes, I'll move it over to you. The popular defenses this week are Buffalo going up against Carolina. The big spread, the number that they've got there obviously makes that popular. And then the Jags, of course. We saw this. What was it? It was against Atlanta. This is another thing I'll bring up right quick before I flip it to you. It was Robinson with the Jags D. It can't fail. They're against Atlanta. They're going to go off. And then Cordero Patterson and the Atlanta D on the opposite side smashed them and crushed. So what are you doing here with these defense positions? You got Bills, Jags up at the top. And then people are willing to pay up this week to the Miami Dolphins against Zach Wilson and the Jets.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not playing the fucking Jaguars defense. That's for one.
Yeah.
So we're going to have zero Jaguars defense in my builds. I don't mind Buffalo. My favorite defense, I think, is going to be Green Bay. They've been really, really good. I know that they're on the road, but facing the backup, this is his, they've got some film on him now from his start in Chicago. And, the playmakers there much different, as I think you brought up, without Lamar Jackson. So I think they're going to be my favorite. I know I'm going to have the salary to pay up. And then just two more thoughts. One, the props are good on Pitts. I already know them. And then Matt Ryan did throw outdoors in nice weather against Tampa Bay for 300 yards just a few weeks ago. Didn't get the touchdowns. But the other thing is this is also possible, right? Two possible outcomes. I'm right. They play the game close and we're all happy. The other is, I'm sitting at the bar at 4:45, 5 o'clock, and my wife turns to me and goes, "You played Falcons again, didn't you?"
Oh, JT. Here we go. We're getting an AP added the whole stack, by the way, too. If anyone wants
to so he makes a good point, though. They're 6-7. They're second in the NFC South. They did play the Bucks somewhat close. They've been good on the road. I'm with JT Hayes. I mean, look at they beat the Saints on the road, Dolphins, Jags, Panthers, Giants. I mean, a function of matchups. However, it's road games, and we've seen the 49ers get into shootouts. So I'm kind of with you on this one, JT. I might be at the bar. I might have to fly out and hit up the bar with you.
There you go. Just one lineup, though. Don't go crazy because you never know.
Yeah,
but I've been impressed by Arthur Smith.
The private jet fired up and get down with the South Beach boys, see if they're shipping that $2.5 million, close out the night with them, Club 11, something like that. But defense, my boy, Nadesify, he's got all the plays that I love. I like going down this tier. I'm with you guys on the Packers. Not as many will go there. I think the Cowboys are an excellent spot this week. Mike Glennon, you can just smash up on them. I do think, like I said earlier, I didn't really go further on this, but on FanDuel, going to Dallas with Zeke. Zeke is cheap over there. It's just another way to add on to it and stack up. The way he could have a good game is if that D picks it up, puts him in the position to get lucky and run a couple scores in. Touchdown dependent over on FanDuel. That's why I brought up earlier with Kyler to Ertz. If Ertz can get 2 TDs, Zeke can run in a couple, and it's part of the defense doing it. I think that makes sense. And then Houston. All the hate in the chat on Trevor Lawrence, and I said, you don't got to do it. You don't have to get there. You're right. I just am going to get there with some. But you guys have talked about this plenty of times on this show free throughout the season, talked about it plenty on the weekly review shows over at Runpure Sports. I can have 12%, 12.5% Trevor Lawrence lineups, have, like a 20 max of him, which most people don't even have 20 lineups, be way over in that sense, and then have 10 or 15% of the Houston defense. Who's been the best quarterback to go against this season in giving up turnovers? It's got to be Trevor Lawrence, man. So if you do that, you're not necessarily saying you're playing both sides, but you are hedging in the sense that you've got love for that side to build those lineups that can work. And that's why if you have failure across your 150, if you are doing large field MME, you still have ways and outs to get there that actually makes sense. The Houston D is a crazy leverage play today. We saw it last week. Gibson was huge chalk for Washington, and the defense going up against them ended up having a pretty good day. So I do think that's another spot you can go to down here. Other Ds for me, not really standing out. So it's going to stick to mostly those ones I talked about: Cowboys, Packers, Houston, and then I'll mix and match a couple others because it's defense. Anything can happen, but I do like those guys. AP, any other thoughts at defense there that you've got this week?
Yeah, so the Titans were a defense I ended up getting on last week, and man, no one plays them, but like this defense is what's holding this team together. They get to go up against Fat Ben, as we like to say. And, people are kind of, people have some interest in Ben this week, but man, this Titans defense, they smashed last week. Love the spot here against Ben. Teams have been able to just get to him, sack him, put pressure on him, force turnovers. I think they're going to be in a really good spot. And looks like they are going unowned again this week. So there are a lot of easy ways to get off of the chalk here and to still play good defenses. I get the Trevor. I don't know about playing the Texans. This defense, they just have no one. But I get it. Young rookie quarterback. There are definitely worse plays. So yeah, for me, the Titans are kind of my call I like the most. And then maybe look at the Packers, maybe look at the Broncos at home. They've just been, really good defense. Joe Burrow, definitely has had some turnovers this year, has had some bad games. I still like Burrow, but we know the turnovers can happen. So the defense I feel best about, though, right now, the Titans.
I do like that Broncos call that you just brought up as an opportunity there. And if you wanted to get different, JT Hayes talked about it earlier, by playing those running backs in that spot, you could pair them up too and just hope that it is a down game for Burrow. And you have a spot that you can get after them there. If you want to correlate it, you don't have to, but I think so. So anything else, JT Hayes, from you here at D this week?
No, that's it.
All right. So we'll get to it. We've got the 230. Well, we're getting to the off the chalk plays of the day. Let's take another 3 seconds and click that like button. You guys got time. All you got to do is click it. It's free. Almost 600 watching. It's been an awesome Sunday. I'm surprised with the turnout. I know it's that last Saturday night before Christmas. Everyone's getting together with their families, doing their things. So I just wanted to see you guys out there. Appreciate you here. Obviously hitting those like buttons for us. Hit that subscribe. We've got the Morning Wood coming up next. But AP, if you're ready, the off the chalk play of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a value play. I love the targets he got last week. The opportunity was there. I think he finds the box this week, but it's going to be a pivot off of the Gabriel Davis chalk. I'm going to go with Nico Collins, 3.5K. I think he gets himself a touchdown, 70 yards, and 6 catches.
All right, that's an interesting one. That's not where I expect you to go, but I do love that. And like I said, use that little secondary stack there if you want, as a way to get different. Even if you wanted to put them into the Robinson lineups, at least you'd be extremely unique.
Where'd you think I was going to go, Tambo? Where'd you think I was going to go?
I thought you were going to get on this Atlanta train at the end, or maybe you're saying.
I was tempted. I was definitely tempted.
Full circle, so I thought maybe you did a full 180 at least. So let's see here. Okay, we got Dwayne in the chat, by the way, said he's trying to stake someone. Guess I'll do it in Discord. Yeah, members only. Dwayne, we love you, man. And I might have some DAX stacks, but not too many this week. Like I said, I'm just using some of the one-off plays there. But JT Hayes, talk to us about your off the chalk play of the week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a first timer for me. A guy haven't used it all this season. Remember, Jamar Chase was last week's play. That worked out very, very nicely. Let's go with Kyle Pitts.
I love it. I did know where you were going to go if AP somehow didn't snake it. So I'm happy we got some interesting plays here this week. I'm loving this Kyle Pitts. I won't say all in, but I'm all in on the props. I've already got him up here. I'm feeling these bets today. Anytime touchdown. I'm going to go to the yardage. I'm going to look at all this right after I get off here. My off the chalk play of the day is going to be a nice little pivot to James Robinson, and you can just move and slide over to the Devontae Freeman. Even if Gaskin gets ownership there too. I'm going with Devontae Freeman, my Ravens guy, going in that Green Bay game. You can use him as a one-off. You can use them in secondary stacks, and you could also use them in those game stacks. So I definitely like that. And yeah, shout out. I got my boy Sting Rizze and another guy last week. They got the 333 tickets. They all got queued up. So for everyone that was watching last week, and by the way, almost 300 likes now. We appreciate it. The tickets went out. Very happy. That was some good mojo. I hope one of those guys, or if not both, do some damage today and get up there. Maybe one of them ships. But that's all we got for this week, guys. So for myself, JT Hayes, and AP, Simon, get us out of here.
What's happening, everyone? Allie here with Runpure Sports to shout out our hosts who had great calls last week and our members who are coming off a huge week where they shipped over $1.2 million in prizes. Congrats to our very own Bobby who landed a ticket to the DraftKings Live NFL Final in Miami.
He called it a touchdown. Woo!
Touchdown, Ayuk!
Let's go!
Let's go! Let's go!
Bobby made a huge call on 2% owned running back Rashad Penny, who ended up with a slate-breaking score of over 29 fantasy points on DraftKings. Penny also landed on Runpure Sports member the Man 11's 100K winning lineup on FanDuel, continuing the trend of six-figure hits for RPS members. On our Sunday morning Wood Show, Hoop body bagged everyone with his Hunter Renfrow call. Congrats to him for sticking to his guns with his rich parents play of the day while everyone else made fun of him. Renfrow went on to have a monster 30-point day for the Hoopster.
At this one with my boy Runpure, I just cannot wait. Cannot wait. And this could be it because I'm feeling good about it, where he gets that 30 piece. How many guys in the NFL go for 30? Like, there's not many guys.
And he's not going to be one of them. I'll tell you that, Hoop. But you'll get
He finally jumped in. Thank you.
Oh, he flipped on me.
Big T continued the good mojo Sunday night with his call to start Jakeem Grant in Sunday night's Showdown slate.
The guy that's going to win the slate, I'm always good when I pop in at the last second like this, is Jakeem Grant. Mark my words.
Runpure Sports member Anger Tornado joined Big T on the Jakeem Grant play to bank a first-place finish in the DraftKings Showdown tournament, taking home over $13,000. Also, big congrats to Runpure Sports member Swint, who took home $20K in MMA. Bad Lab joined our free MMA show the day of the event to lay out all of the best plays. Our guests have been killing it lately, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our free shows. If you are not already a Runpure Sports member, now is the best time to join. We partnered with SaberSim to offer a huge package deal where you can get access to all of Runpure Sports content along with SaberSim's industry-leading optimizer and projection system. So what are you waiting for? Join today and let's run pure.
It's the Wood Show, and I've been talking with Hoop before the show started. He's got a big smile on his face. Guy won like $6 trillion last night. He's got his Hunter Renfrow jersey on. I asked him earlier this week. I was like, "Hey, dude, why don't you come on and we can rip Big T?" And then you were busy 2 days, and I was busy 2 days. But today is the day, unless Big T uses the excuse that he is doing something for the greater good and doesn't show up on this show. Chances of that happening.
Yeah, super disappointing overall. So, my boy, I got to give a shout out right out of the top to my boy Swint, who came through with this jersey. Never thought it was going to be so hard to get your hands on a Hunter Renfrow jersey. My boy Swint got it done for me. And I made the promise last week. I said, when Hunter Renfrow gets 30 fantasy, not if, I said, when Hunter Renfrow gets us our 30 fantasy points, I'm going to get a Renfrow jersey and wear it every show for the foreseeable future. Got it in on Friday, I believe. And it's not leaving my office. It's going to stay here. I'm never washing it. I'm just going to put it on every single time I have a show. Just so sad, too. I mean, right out of the gate, I get ducked. Tambo was right on here. I mean, Tambo was on the show before. Stayed on. We had a nice show last week. We were great mojo. Everything was going good. Today, I got to get out of here, guys. He's like, I can't hang around. I got a bunch of stuff to do. And then Big T is in Miami, obviously, for the DK Live final. We all know Big T. Big T doesn't miss shows. Nothing is stopping Big T from missing a show. And, I got some stuff to do this morning. Maybe I'll hop on at some point. The classic ducking I expected out of Big T. But Tambo, where are you at? Come on. Come get some. Renfrow 30. Got the jersey. All because of you guys.
Tambo was shitting on you too?
Don't you remember? Like, he was with me at first. Like, you got it. You kind of towed the line a little bit with
hold on.
You
Don't you fucking do that to me. I did not toe the line. I was on Team Renfrow the whole freaking time. Simon put me in the stupid boat with Luigi Tony. We're both sick. I was furious. I was like, you can't tell me I was against Hoop because I was totally on the Hoopster side.
Well, I think it was just the voices were so loud in that conversation. Somehow, for once, Holden's voice got drowned out, which is, it's like it defies odds and logic. But there's a lot of back and forth with me, Big T, Tambo. And Tambo was with me do you remember? Like, Tambo was with me at first on Renfrow. I was like, all right, I got at least one ally here. I know Big T is always going to say Renfrow sucks, no upside. And then out of nowhere, I said the 30 number, and holy shit, like, you would have thought he saw a ghost. He was out. Like, we were arm in arm on Renfrow. I throw out 30, and he's gone. So then it's Tambo and Big T versus Hoop, and you're a good moderator. You let the points be made, and ended up on top, and that's why I'm wearing the Renfrow jersey and will be for the foreseeable future. And I did take a picture and send it to Big T, so he is aware of the situation.
A couple other things. I thought K Fallick was going to get you the jersey, but obviously he is not reliable, so that's unfortunate. Always loved me some K Fallick, but if he's not going to get you the jersey after he said he was when he was in Vegas, very disappointing.
Yeah, that was a whole nother story. So he kind of reached out and said, yeah, I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to, see what I can find for you, blah, blah, blah. Shopping with his wife. Like, dude, if you're getting a jersey, you know what sort of store you're going to. You're not, K Fallick has a shit ton of money, so he's probably shopping at Louis Vuitton or stores like that. Not going to find a Renfrow jersey there, K Fallick. Come on, we got to do better than that.
Well, listen, Mangona's in here even calling out Big T. So it's bad. It's bad when Mangone, the teacher's pet, is just taking out the teacher, saying this is weak, Big T. It is weak. It is really weak. Yeah. And you know what? Let me rewind because I remember very few things. But once you went to that 30 mark, I was very quiet. So you're right. Like I was on Team Renfrow, but once you went like above that 25 mark, I was like, this guy, I better be quiet. I'm not going to say anything just in case he goes off. But I definitely did not think he'd get the 30. And then when he did, it was just too good because people are tweeting us and they're just throwing us and be like, he did it.
Yeah, in the third quarter too, and it was wild. But it was a mathematical. It's just math. I mean, the dude's getting his 22, 23 for sure. He's like I said, 100 yards, 8 to 9 catches. If he finds the box, that's 30. He's getting red zone targets. Got the job done for us in a big way. A lot of people made some big bucks with Renfrow last week. It was exciting stuff. Just got to hope Big T comes to pay. But that's classic Big T. Like he says dumb shit, and then he disappears and refuses to take his L. Big T never misses shows. Like never misses shows. And I know for sure the reason he's missing the show today is because big number 13 on the Raiders. He's scared to look at this jersey for an hour and a half.
I mean, I am. And I was on your side most of the time. And then I was not laughing at Hoop last week. Simon, you know what, Simon? He's talking all this shit. I was upset at him because seriously, he put me in the boat with Big T dressed like Luigi in the promo and it sunk. And I was like, fire whoever did this. And it was Simon. It just hurt so much because I thought it was one of our jabroni interns or, Ali or somebody. No, it was Simon, who I know. And it just really hurt my feelings. So anyways, congrats to that. Simon, I don't want to hear it. Uncle T, good morning. Mangone, good morning. You guys can hop on the show if you want to. Phallic, any of you guys want to hop on the show, we'll get you on here. Very disappointing that Big T is just too good for this show. And we're still going to kill it because this is my rule at RPS, and I think I'm the only one. I only congratulate these guys if they win 100K or more because these $75,000 hits are for pussies once you're with these guys.
Yeah.
The rest of us, a bunch of slubs, we play, we have fun. Congratulations, another $100,000 hit. I mean, what's going on here? But now what was it in? Football?
NBA Friday night just it's actually crazy because the NBA stuff's so much news nonstop, but I had something to do Friday night. I built the team. I said, you know what? If news hits and I can't make the right changes, I don't give a fuck. We're just rolling with it tonight. I'll take the loss. The kids were gone. Wife and I were going out to dinner. Built the team, left the office, and I said, whatever happens, happens. I'm not making any changes tonight. I don't really give a shit. And turned out to be like pretty close to the stone nuts on FanDuel and kind of shipped everything. So it was a good night there. Had a good night on DK and just looking to roll it into this afternoon with the NFL.
All right. So who's the play? Oh, how many likes till we get your play? Well, just doesn't matter because we're going to give them anyways. So here's the deal. Let's get 50 likes for Big T not being here. So we need to get to 340 in the next 5 minutes. Another 10 likes for Hoop because he won $100,000. And then another 10 likes because Hoop beat Big T. So we need to get to 360 likes within the next 7 minutes or all hell's going to break loose here. So that's it. And I don't know if the guy is joking about this. Top Knox, nobody hurt your feelings. That's just the way you chose to react. I'm about to react a different way if you were really serious about that, because nobody comes in here and starts playing psychologist on a Sunday morning, punk. Anyways, hello, Hoop. We've got a lot to get to here. I've got super extra dusty plays this week. I mean, you want to talk, like I looked at some of the guys in my pool and I said to myself, how am I going to tell any of these guys? How am I going to tell Hoop? How am I going to tell Big T's, legends of the business, these piece of shit guys that I like this week? But you know what? I think that everybody's viable. It's a 9-game slate now and everybody's got the COVID, Hoop.
Much different slate than we're used to. I mean, there's obviously, you got all the COVID stuff. We have some injury stuff, a lot to digest. I mean, the one thing that definitely stands out is there's not a ton of guys to spend up on salary wise. So it's a very unique slate, obviously, for a full main slate. And there certainly are some dusty guys that are probably in play this week in tournaments. But there's also some really, really strong value plays that are also tough to avoid this week. Strong, just overall plays that are tough to avoid that we'll get to because of some of these situations with Corona and whatnot.
Hey, will you let me know, Simon, will you just throw it in the chat here, whether or not you want me to do the winners, because we had a whole bunch of winners. K-Fleek Burner, Big Edible Night Holden. I did. It was. There is no question. Had a date night last night, ate a bunch of edibles, and I am just flat out exhausted. Let's get to the winners before we do everything. And again, 33 more likes in the next 5 minutes for a multitude of things that we're very happy about. Members never win, though. Members never. Only guys like Hoop win, right? BS. Our boy Swint in the MMA.
So Swint's the guy that got me this jersey. Big shout out to Swint. Didn't really, I mean, just came through and out of nowhere. He's like, I'm going to get you this jersey. It's going to be at your house by Thursday or Friday. I said, all right, well, what can I do for you? He's like, nothing. I told you I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I said, all right, I do appreciate that, but I would like to either reimburse you or do something for you. He's like, no. He's like, I want you to have this jersey. He's like, I went to like 5. It is hard. It was super hard to get this Runpure jersey. He said he had to go to 5 stores and finally reached out to his buddy that runs one of these stores. So this thing's like gold. I mean, this is tough collector item really at this point.
I mean, that's a little weird that a dude would go to 5 different places and you really don't even know him, do you? No.
Now I do. We're boys.
Yeah, now you're boys. All right, good job, Swint. The dedication was a little much for me, but congratulations. And nice cabinets in the background, Hoop. About 10 years ago, the first house I ever bought. The Twitter thing that you took, the picture of you in the jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Exact same cabinets. Beautiful cabinets. Hardwood.
Yeah, we actually just got that. They were brown, and we liked the formation, I guess, of the cabinet. Mm-hmm. So guy that does some work at our house was able to like sand them down and spray them to this white color. And I prefer the white.
Just stop.
Yeah, no, you don't like the home improvement. You don't like the carpet stories.
No, I apologize to our viewers. My fault.
People like this stuff.
Of our lives, we're never getting
the carpet
back.
Stories. People will not probably like the cabinet stories. And you brought it up.
We don't give a shit about your cabinets. My bad. You could call me out for it. I completely derailed this show. Who fucking cares about Hoops cabinets? Anyways, let's continue. Who's the next guy here? Sick Derulla with a 20K hit in the National Basketball Association. The sweet boy winning 58K. The man. 11 with 100K in the NFL. When did he hit that? Was that a Showdown thing, Hoop? Do you remember the man hitting that?
The man always ships, so it's hard to say. The man's had some big wins.
You can't bring the man down. And then Bobby Gomes, our boy, is in Miami. He's with Big T.
Bobby Gomes is just a Miami guy. Like if I look at Bobby Gomes, one of the first things I think of is like Miami. He's got the tan, he's got the hair, the white teeth. You know he's poolside with those short shorts that are like cutting your nuts off, ass cheeks hanging out. You know he's a short guy with the tank top. Just guarantee it. Guaranteed.
Oh, all right. Let's get.
Am I wrong? Like he is just like he just screams Miami.
Who? Bobby Gomes?
Bobby Gomes.
Listen, a couple of people said talk football. If you don't know the process of this show, you just relax. We got to marinate and get all the good things going, okay? Just relax, chat. One guy in the chat, I think it was Mark Johnson, just relax. I didn't know that. Me and Bobby lived like 2 blocks away from each other on and off for about 15 years. Every time I'd move back to Boston just for like a year or something to go do something there, we lived right near each other. Bobby in 30 years is going to be walking around Florida, dude. That dude is totally going to move to like Boca Raton.
He's going to be one of those leatherback guys with like just the darkest tan you've ever seen before shirt off. Like,
absolutely. Right? He's going to be 60. He's going to have the man boobs. He's going to be chilling out with his, his old lady, whoever that is down there, poolside, beachside. That's Bobby Gomes. Yeah. And I mean, that'd be nice. I'm actually rooting for Tony because he said he would give me something. He's got a big surprise for me if he wins. But if Bobby wins, that's fine too because he's an RPS guy. So I'm sure Big T will be like, here's $5. Don't spend it everywhere. Here's my $5 ticket.
I never know. Holden surprise is big. I can't even imagine. I mean, there's just so many possibilities there.
All right, listen, we got our first 50 likes for not having Tony. We needed another 10 likes for your Renfro jersey. I don't know what the other 10 likes were for, but we're like 9. So let's go. Let's get it going. And we're going to start with this awfully disgusting slate. I mean, you know what I feel like, Coop? That I'm bringing everyone down to my level that I have a shot to really win this week because you're going to have to play some shitty guys. And I like playing shitty guys, Yeah. So let's do this. Speaking of shitty guys, how about Ezekiel Elliott? Let's go to this Dallas Giants game. At what point in time can we start trusting Dak Prescott to get his ass in gear? We're not messing with the running game on either side in this game, are we? I'm looking at the wide receivers. I feel like we got a little man set up here. So give me not a little man, like a little bit of man coverage. And give me a little CeeDee Lamb against the zone. I like the zone because we're going to see more zone from the Giants, actually. So give me a little CeeDee Lamb today in this game. I don't know if you want to do anything in tight end. Nothing sexy from this one. Hoop, let's go. Tournament, cash plays, whatever you got for the Giants and the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, not the greatest game, but like you said, there's only 9 games on this slate now with those other ones getting moved. there's just not a ton of appealing options. So a guy like Zeke, we'd typically write off. I think got to consider him a little, especially on FanDuel. He's only 6.7K. So 6.7K on FanDuel. If he gets in the end zone, you're probably good. You know he's going to get the goal line carries. It sounds like Pollard's going to play, but Pollard is dinged up a little bit. They're going to give Zeke the carries despite how dusty he is or injured or combination of both. He's going to get the lion's share of the carries here. So I think in play more on FanDuel than on DraftKings. Now, the thing with Dak is interesting because they're just winning games in different ways. I mean, they have a really good defense or some really good defenders, and they're coming up with these big defensive plays. They just haven't needed Dak. Now, this is a game script where they might not need him again. So I think there is some risk, but there's certainly some upside as well. I mean, he's got his full complement of receivers now: CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, Gallup, Dalton Schultz. Like if they need to pass the ball, he could have a big game. CeeDee Lamb's obviously my favorite of the wide receivers, should be pretty low because this passing attack hasn't been there as of late. But in tournaments, I like getting exposure to these guys. I like getting exposure to Dak, CD, Cooper, Gallup. I like all these guys in tournaments, not really cash game plays. Then on the Giants side, I'm not playing Giants. I mean, their team total is 16. So projected to score like 2 touchdowns today. It's just, man, see Saquon's kind of popping in some projections. Yeah. I'm not playing Saquon. I mean, got there. It wasn't like a random touchdown like at the end of the game last week where he ended up getting 18 fantasy points. Yeah. Kind of dead before the touchdown. I'll let other people play Saquon. I'm just not playing Saquon. Not playing these pass catchers for the Giants either. I mean, very low team total. Dallas should obviously roll here with Glennon at quarterback.
So the only guy I'm going to disagree with you on is Zeke Elliott, and I already bet his under.
Oh no, I get it. Trust me. No, and it's probably more like a cash game play on FanDuel where you hope that he scores that touchdown, and then you're kind of already there. I mean, I'm not banking on Zeke getting 25 touches, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're playing Zeke for him just to get by. And running back's weak. I mean, running back's a bad position. There's not many good running backs this week.
You'll take 55 yards, a catch, and a touchdown, and that'll hit value.
Yeah, maybe at 6.7. I mean, if at the running back position where I'm not seeing a lot of these, explosive performer type guys, might take that.
Yeah. And Corey Clement's could be in. It's just a mess there. It's not a great game for the DFS, but I do like CeeDee Lamb, man. That's the one guy that really sticks out to me. And especially on this slate, you look at him there. Look at this. The likes are rolling in. I don't remember what I asked you to like, just besides for Big T not being here, but you've done a great job. What's our number today, Hoop? Do we get to 600 with just the two of us? Is it possible, or should we just, sit back, relax, and see if we can get maybe 500?
Big T is going to come on at some point. So we need I guess maybe we need the likes to come up to get Big T on. I mean, he's got the big milli, what is it? The 2.5 million to first, the live final today. Apparently for some reason, Big T is like a popular guy, and DraftKings keeps doing these videos about him, which I'm just baffled because he's like not really all that interesting at all. And they're following around with the camera crew. So apparently he's important down there in Miami for DK. So I'm assuming that's why he's not here, but he's going to hop on at some point.
Great question. What is the allure with this man? Seriously, we sit here all day with Tony. What's the allure?
I ask myself that every day. I mean, why do people like the guy?
Yeah. Talks slow.
Yep.
Sounds like he's from like Louisiana or something. Yeah. Like, what do we like about Big T? Why
the people love themselves some Big T, and it's a question. I've known Big T for 8-9 years now, and it's a question I really can't answer.
Yeah, and it's disappointing too. He hates white receivers. He hates white basketball players. It's it's very sad that he hates people that look like us so much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now you've got that jersey on. I'm sure he'll be cursing you. So, all right, we'll get back to the games then. How does that sound? I did bet the under 78.5 on Zeke, by the way. Rush plus receiving. I just don't see it happening, man. 15 touches for that guy at this point. But you're right. He falls in the end zone. It's not a bad fan in cash.
Yep.
All right, here we go, buddy. Houston, Jacksonville. I'm sure there's a lot of dusty people out there talking about some dusty shit in this game. I'm going to tell you right now. All right. I got 5 lineups today, six lineups today. And one of those lineups has Davis Mills. I'm not even kidding. Davis Mills, Brandon Cooks, and James Robinson. And it is disgusting, and I get it. But Jacksonville not bad against the run. They get shredded against the pass. And here comes Davis Mills. All this dude has done, he's got 2 300-yard games in his last 3 games. He'll probably throw for a touchdown or 2. I can't imagine anybody's on him at 5-4 on DraftKings. So before we get into the rest of this game, talk to me about Davis Mills, how shitty of a play it is. And we don't care about ownership and quarterback, but what if ownership is like 2%? Huh?
This is definitely the slate to do something like this because there's only 9 games. There's not a ton of big totals. I mean, do we have anything over like the mid 40s? I mean, everything is 45-ish and below, right? Or the Lions game's 47, but all that's on the Cardinal side. So no big totals this week. You have 2 teams that are just complete dumpster fires. I don't know why Jacksonville is such a big favorite in this game. I mean, could be wrong. I mean, I know people in Vegas obviously, dive deep into all the historical data and whatnot, but I mean, the Jaguars favored by 5.5, like they're have been like the worst team in football all season. And I understand that the Texans are terrible too, but I like the Texans as a bet here, plus the 5.5. And yeah, I mean, there's just not a ton of big premier games. So I'd be okay doing something like this. They're getting what should be the majority of the offense on both sides. James Robinson's in a phenomenal spot here at home. They ruled out Carlos Hyde. He's not going to be in there today. Just a clear path for James Robinson to get a lot of work without Urban Meyer there. For Urban Meyer clearly had something against James Robinson, but James Robinson should get all the work. His props are massive today. He's definitely one of the better plays on the slate. He will be popular, but bringing it back on the other side with Cooks and Mills, I actually don't hate that just because, like I said, the slate dictates that. There's just not a ton of premier games to target. So I'm okay with that. I like Cooks individually here today. 11 targets last game, eight receptions, 100 yards. He can do that against this Jaguars defense. I mean, the Jags defense sucks. So, James Robinson, Cooks, my 2 favorite here. But, playing a guy like Mills, I don't think it's the worst thing.
It lets me get Harris, Devontae, and Deontay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it does. And then who is that? Christopher Dunlop, Davis Mills, Mike Glennon's brother. You know what? Christopher Dunlop, if you are a subscriber, let's just do a little $50 on DK points, Davis Mills versus Mike Glennon. Okay. Yes, they both suck, but Davis Mills, honest to God, I'd rather have him going forward than Zach Wilson if we're talking rookie quarterbacks. I'm not even kidding. At least this guy throws the football.
Zach Wilson sucks. There's no way Zach Wilson can be the answer for a team at quarterback. He's a disaster. Yeah.
He's really, really bad. Let's get us to 400 likes here in just a second. Give us 5 minutes. We'll give you 5 minutes. We're at 700 watching, 372 on the likes. Let's get to 400 there. The other thing is Bobby Gomes in the chat. Bobby, hop on, man. You and Tony were just chugging Pedialyte. When was it, yesterday whenever the last time I worked with Tony and Bobby, Friday, just chugging Pedialyte. And now I don't know whether to believe this or not. Bobby says Tony was with the strippers. I mean, I'm not buying that hoop. He's a family man. He would not be rubbed up upon by these dirty, smelly skanks. And I think that he'd much rather go to church than a strip club.
Let me see the best way to put this without getting anyone in trouble. I agree with what Bobby says, and not with what you say.
No.
Let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. I agree with Bobby. Oh, I don't agree. What's the word stronger than agree?
I don't think
Bobby's right. Bobby's correct.
Bobby's right, and I'm wrong.
I mean, and there's no argument. Bobby's right, and you're wrong. So,
Uncle T. If Big T said, "Hey, I'm going to go to the strip club," how just completely blown away would you be if he said that? Because I really do feel like Tony is a Sunday morning church, not going out late to the strip clubs, definitely home by 1:00 last night in Miami, trying to win 2.5 million.
Yeah. So Uncle T has already commented. He said, "Careful hoop." So yeah, he knows. All I'm saying is I fully endorse Bobby Gomes' statement. Like that's all I'm saying. I endorse the statement, and what Holden said is just factually incorrect. So
yeah, okay. Well, we'll get at some point in time. Tony will stop by and decide to grace us with his presence. But I must say, 307. Come on, 400 likes. Let's go. Tony's not coming on till we get 500. I just got the message. Tony's not coming on till we get 500 likes. Just so you know that, people. So if you want the celebrity, he's gotten so big now. If you want the celebrity to come on, he is saying he has to have 500 likes. So. Boy, not a good show for him not to show up. He knew he was going to get a lot of shit, though, right?
Oh, of course. That's what Big T does. Like, he knows he's got to take the L. He doesn't want to take the L. And he he can't face reality when he makes dumbass statements. Like, he refuses to do it. I've worked with the guy for 8 years. It's his biggest leak. The ability to face the facts when he's incorrect on something.
Yeah. Hey, Simon, will you send Bobby Gomes a link, or just get him on for like 5 minutes? Get a little background on him and Big T down there in Miami, if they went to the strip club, and then we'll get his place too.
That is true though. Like Jay Newby, Bobby breaking long-standing bro codes on the YouTubes today. That's kind of legit too. I mean, what if Mrs. T were to be watching today? Hoping to see her husband. Instead, she sees two really handsome guys, Holden and Hoop. Like, all right, no, I'll hang around for a little bit. My husband's
Oh, Tony, you picked the wrong day, buddy. I mean, if you would, you take off on another day, but you're in the hornet's nest when you come on. Me and Hoop today, just laying it on you, bro. Yeah. First Baptist Church of TNA.
It is true. That part is true. I think Big T's whole family goes to church, and everyone besides Big T. And so he goes to that. He goes to that one, the TNA church.
He might. Tony probably goes for like the holidays just to make sure that like I don't want to burn in hell because I got all this money now. So just make sure I keep it and we can pass it down to my kids. Yeah.
Bobby's getting pounded now in the chat for breaking the bro code. Like, you go to an establishment with a married gentleman, like you leave the receipts there. Like, it's like
totally disagree.
Really?
Totally disagree.
Really?
Yeah, Bobby's. I mean, what is Bobby supposed to do? Not talk about his Miami experience where he is representing us? We got two guys in the biggest tournament in the world, in the universe.
Yeah, but like you don't need to talk about the extracurriculars, I mean,
everybody rats me out. Dangerous. Screw it. Rat him out, Bobby. Come on the show. There he is. Good morning, Bobby.
South Beach, Bobby.
South Beach, Bobby.
How's it going, guys?
How are you doing? You said you didn't go out late last night, but what happened with you?
Uncle T's burying me. He said Hoop may not get an invite to March. What the hell did I do? Like, I'm in here like defending the dude. Like, get out, Uncle T. Bad take.
Yeah, Uncle T is on fire this morning. I don't know what he's saying.
No, I will say this about Tony. He ducked out of 11 pretty quick.
Yeah, he gets the job done and he gets out. Like, he gets in, gets out. That's how he rolls.
He wasn't there too long. I stayed the night.
Were the strippers paying him at this point? Is that just where we are on this hot streak? Did he just walk in and be like, "Here you go. Let's make it rain on Tony. Take your clothes off. Let's look at each other's boobies."
They liked Big T, I would say, right? And you get the nickname Big T for a reason. So they were coming in fire. They were coming in hot,
And how did you do?
He didn't stay too long. He was a gentleman. He ended up getting out of there. So.
How'd you do?
On the other hand, not so.
He said he had a sleepover, so I think he did all right.
No. I don't think he had a sleepover. Okay. I don't really know the ins and outs of that, but I think he was home early.
Okay. Do you want to give us a couple plays before you get out of here? You're not drinking Pedialyte.
You're already looking to throw me off of here, Holden. I've been here for 5
absolutely.
seconds.
No, I want you to go win some money today, dude. Give us a couple.
This isn't the spot for winners. Me and Holden are just off the rails today. If you want to focus and win 2.5 million, this is the wrong spot.
Yeah, we're talking nothing over $27 from here, Bobby. Go. Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby. We're gonna. I don't know. I'm still kind of working through it. I was hoping to hear your take, so. No, maybe
Yeah, I mean,
let's hop off.
it's an interesting slate in the fact that there's just not many like spend up plays. I mean, it'd be hard to do it, I think, in the format you're in, but in the larger field stuff, like leave some money on the table for sure. I mean, there's only a few high dollar guys that could really go out and break the slate. So in like larger field stuff, I think leaving a little bit of money on the table is interesting. In these there's 200 people in that live final today. There's some plays that are just tough to avoid for a 200 man field. Like there's some like standout, like stud value type plays. That I think you probably just have to like eat the chalk on a little bit.
Yeah, the tough thing about this live final is there's no late swap. So me and T have to kind of weigh that. I think there's 62 entries that are single entries, and then the rest have multi-entry.
Yeah.
So I think with that Lamar news, I think that's pretty interesting. I know in MME, I think Lamar's likely doubtful. If he had played, I thought Marquise was interesting at 5'9". I think Bateman's just interesting at 5K now. They're guys that haven't hit content pretty much all week because people really aren't targeting those situations. But I think they're just differentiated, and it's tough to get differentiated on this 9-game slate with basically every reason that you said. The prices there's no one to really pay up for, and the value is really good. So just ways to kind of think about the 4 p.m. slate. Just the afternoon, leaving yourself opportunity to late swap if you have the opportunity. I think it's viable.
What about all of these shitty plays that I'm bringing up here, like the Davis Mills and just ugly, ugly dudes? You're not going to go at your tournament there, but if you're playing smaller
quarterback's thin, man. Quarterback's thin. Like like in that range, I like obviously Jimmy, Roethlisberger. I think those guys are firmly in play as pivots off Tua. You can throw in Davis Mills. Huntley seen a lot of work last week, so I think he's rather interesting. Green Bay defense has been great, though. So that was one of the late swap differentiations I was thinking about, but it's tough for me to make that play and take a 0 at QB if Lamar was to play. Yeah, that's Kyler's Kyler, and that's a pace-up game versus Detroit. So Kyler's very much in play as well.
Kyler's in play. All right. Did you see Big T this morning or no?
I haven't seen Big T.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Why don't you go back to watching the show?
All right. I'll go back to watching the show. Holden, you go back to hosting it.
I will. Thank you. Hey, Bobby. Good luck today, buddy. Let's go.
Good luck, guys. Yeah. Good luck.
Bring it home, Broski.
Let's go.
Yep.
All right. Bobby Gomes. Good man. Good man, Bobby Gomes. Let's get back to these games. And then
looks like he's feeling the effects of Miami a little bit. A few days in Miami, you could kind of get that sense, that he's starting to feel the effects.
Yeah, I actually thought he looked a lot fresher today because we did the news dump on Friday. That first night he was there was a rough one. There's no doubt. Him and Tony were just chugging Pedialyte, and it didn't stop. 417 likes. Come on, guys. Like, get your shit together. We got another game, me and Hoop, and Big T will stop by. He said when we get to 500 at some point in time, he'll stop by after that. So Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, he's washed. I mean, we keep talking about this shitty slate here. Well, I mean, I don't like Ben Roethlisberger, but he's coming off 24-point game. He's got two 22-point games in his last 4. Najee has got to be the top play on the board, right? My favorite running back is from this game, and we can get into him in a little bit. Deontay's got to be there, right? I am not on Claypool. I think that he's just, at this point, they're fucking done. They'll still go to him, but Ray McLeod is my pivot there. And then that's about it. I mean, I guess Freiermuth is in the mix, but boy, I like the Steelers at home today too. I think they're going to have a nice little positive game script. Give me a breakdown here, Mr. Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers are kind of turning into that consolidated offense that we were used to in the past with Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, where it was just those two, everything kind of goes through them. Well, it's kind of starting to be that way with Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson. It's how they like to run things. They like to go through a consolidated group group of guys. And right now it's Najee and Deontay. I think they're both really strong plays. Claypool, I just still cannot get that vision out of my head with that they're playing from behind 30 seconds left and he's celebrating like a 4-yard first down and doesn't get the football to the ref. I mean, and then on top of it, like what a scumbag move trying to like blame the linemen on your team as they come up and get the ball. He said it made him fumble. It just like, what a dick. Fuck him. We like Deontay though. I mean, the targets are just insane for him. I mean, just he's getting 10 targets. He's got 10 targets in almost every game this season. He's one of these guys now. If he finds the end zone, he's having a big game. If he doesn't find the end zone, he can still have a good enough game. But end zone and he's smashing. Love Deontay. Love Najee. And then on the Titan side, the guy I think you were alluding to is Deonta Freeman, who I think, is a fine option. Running back is weak. I mean, it's just not a good position. He's getting, he'll probably get upper teens in terms of touches, probably, 13, 14, 15 carries, and then, hopefully 2 or 3 catches to go along with it. If he finds the end zone, he has a big game. If he doesn't, he still could be okay. I mean, running back is not a great position, but that's probably about it for me. Foreman, Najee Harris, and then Deontay.
Yeah, Foreman will be my play of the day. Just love him. And
hey, you know what happened? You know what happened last time someone gave the play of the day right in the middle of the show, right?
Yeah, he scored 30-something fucking points.
That's a sign. No, we got to let Big T know about that when he gets on, because that could be valuable information come lineup building time.
Yeah, I talked to him about it, but like I said, the rumor is 500 likes or he's not even bothering showing up today. So I'm just saying. I love Foreman, and as I mentioned on multiple shows this week, the Steelers are just a train wreck against their running back position. Every week, like you got Swift tearing them up, you got Cook tearing them up, you got lesser running backs tearing them up, and the Steelers are 30th in DVOA. And then here, JSU and I had a good conversation on this because what did I do? The print factory? Yeah, I did the print with them this week. And we went through the Titans running backs, and there's 3 of them. So it's Foreman 1, and then you got a couple jabronis behind him with Hilliard. Well, Hilliard can blow up, and then McNichols. He's like, well, they're in a 3-headed monster timeshare. But when he is in the game, he gets all the touches. And McNichols only got run last week in a blowout, or the last game because there was a blowout. So it's between him and Hilliard, and Foreman's my guy. So that's where I'm going. Probably got about 50% Foreman this week. 6 lineups, 3 of them have Foreman. You're fine with them.
Like I said, with these running backs today, it's going to come down to who gets in the end zone and who doesn't get in the end zone. A lot of them are similar type plays. It's just going to come down to the scoring. Does your guy score a touchdown? Does he not? I mean, a lot of them are going to get like 16 to 18 touches, including the guys up top, even like Zeke. Zeke's going to be in that 16 to 18 touch range, but a guy like Foreman's much cheaper. So yeah, it's like, it's a very unique day at running back where we just don't have a ton of options.
No. I think they're pretty clear though, but we also, I don't want to say we don't have a ton of options. We got a lot of uncomfortable options, right? So maybe
that might be a better way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have many of the guys. I mean, again, we got Najee on this. It seems like everybody has faith in James Robinson. He is really good. Yeah. Maybe we're going to find 1 or 2 more guys on this. I know for a fact we're going to find 1 or 2 more guys on this slate, but yeah, that's how we look at it. So I think we broke that down. I'll just, again, this is a deeper dive play, but I think Ray McLeod, he's been a nice showdown play, but he got 8 targets last game. Yeah. I feel like even if he gets 5, he can bust one. So
yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, and they're down on Claypool a little bit. I mean, I think I don't hate that. I really don't.
All right, let's keep going here. And our next game would just so happen to be one that Bobby Gomes was talking about, Arizona and Detroit and Kyler Murray. This is interesting because Murray, obviously with a massive floor here. I don't think this sets up really well for AJ Green like everybody thinks. I kind of like Christian Kirk, maybe a little Rondale Moore for a deep sleeper, but I think just they're not going to move AJ around. I think the side he's on is going to be a little bit different. So I'm looking forward to your thoughts on who to pair Murray with today. Are you even considering either one of the running backs for Arizona, given it's Connor's banged up? He's 6'4" on DraftKings. Edmonds is going to be active today. You got Craig Reynolds, who last week was good for me, man. Nobody knows the guy. He's a practice squatter, and he got tons of touches for Detroit last week. Uncomfortable play, obviously. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you're going to need to run him back. These are just my thoughts here. Can you talk about Zach Ertz with me real quick? More of a tournament, more than anything else. He's 5'4", popped up on the injury report with a hammy on Friday. I'm not that concerned about it, though. If you feel good about Zach Ertz, you just roll him out, or should you be concerned?
Not concerned, and I actually really like Zach Ertz today. FanDuel, he's only 5.3K, and I think that's a very good price tag for him. He's 5'4" on DK, I think still in play in tournaments, and he's going to get a big boost here without DeAndre Hopkins, along with other guys, but I think he's the one I might like the most. I mean, 7 targets last week. He caught the ball like on the inch-yard line. I mean, he almost scored. So, I mean, he would have been coming off a 16 fantasy point game instead of 9. Very close last week. So I really like Ertz. Better play on FanDuel. Christian Kirk. I'm just not going to play AJ Green. He has looked good. He looked good. I'm just not playing AJ Green. If AJ Green beats me, it's one of those situations. If he beats me, he beats me. I'll take it and move on. I'll play guys like Kirk, Rondale Moore a little bit more indoors, which this time of year is pretty important in the dome here. More obviously dependent on speed. He could break one against this Lions defense. So I really like Moore, Ertz, and then Kirk probably in my order of preference for the Cardinals. Lions, I'm not playing Lions. I don't care. It's just a bad team, bad players. I'm not playing Lions, so I'll leave it at that.
You hate them. You just.
I mean, how do you not? I mean, this is like the worst organization in football. Like as a kid, I'd wake up every Sunday excited to watch the Lions. Like they didn't have NFL Sunday ticket back then. They, you watched what was ever on what was on your TV. There's no streaming service. I had to watch the Lions every day. And as a kid, you want to root on your home teams. You get up all excited, and then they just get pounded every fucking week. And you're like, this is miserable. You get to a point where, the common sense kicks in. You're like, this is miserable. Why the fuck am I doing this to myself? And then you just automatically hate that team forever. And that's what it is with the Lions.
Complete bastards. That's what they are. They're just complete bastards. They should lose their team, and you should have no team there. Have you ever taken your kids to a Lions game? Seriously?
No. So we went to that Cowboys game on Thanksgiving, and I've never taken them to a Lions game.
I mean, that's how was Jerry's World?
Oh, it was wild, man. Like the rap that the Raiders fans get, 100% justifiable. Those Raiders fans are crazy animals. They really are. They are nuts. Yeah, I mean, they are psychopaths.
Okay. Well, good for them. I'm very happy with them. Solid picks. AJ Green has been waiting for this moment. Lock him in. Ella laughing my ass.
I mean, sure. I mean, you look good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not going to play AJ Green.
Boom. What are we at? 458 likes. Do we have an update on Big T? Do we know where he is? And before we do that, let me just update you on some news, because there's some news out there. Tony Pollard's expected to play a couple dozen snaps. Well, going back to that again.
Good for Zeke.
Good
Zeke
for Zeke.
Sucks. Yeah. I mean, they said a couple dozen snaps.
That's like 20, 24 snaps.
Okay. So
not good for Zeke. No. Antonio Brown's coming back for next week, so they're not going to suspend him for the fake card. I love that. If he was like a shitty player, but you got to think Brady went in there. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I need this guy to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
yes.
Right?
Yeah, yes, for sure. For sure.
Don't worry about the Vax card. I got mine from him too.
All this stuff is totally, I mean, not to go down this path, but like I was just thinking about like with the NBA and Christmas Day, like the NBA is just all these, health and protocols. I will guarantee you come Christmas Day for this Christmas Day NBA slate, which is huge, everyone will be healthy and ready to go and not in the protocols. That's my prediction.
Except for Anthony Davis, whose vagina fell off.
Yeah, he's the one exception.
I don't know if they're playing then. Yeah,
I don't even know. I'm sure they are. I
don't even know if they're playing. Yeah, they're the Lakers. And then the other thing, Lamar's unlikely to play, but he hasn't been ruled out. So I mean, Huntley's an interesting one. We'll get to that game in just a little bit. Jets and Dolphins next. But first, let me remind you to hit the like button. We need that 500 to get our Big T on here today. Big T's at the wing place arguing over his order because they give him mild instead of hot and spicy. Can't eat wings this early, Picks. Come on, man. It's disgusting.
Could be Big T. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
This was the message. If you want me to do. Oh, yeah. Okay. I got to get food. I'll try to be on for the end of the show. I mean, this is definitely shady. This is shady now. This is shady. I feel like because we've been waiting all week for Renfro, if we have to wait another couple of days, it's just going to be old news.
It's all right. It's not going anywhere though. It's going to be here every day. The reminder will be with him. All right.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Very disappointing though. It really is. It really is. I mean, I'm having surgery for a hernia. I'm going to be out of work for 4 days. I'm going to come back on Sunday. I'm not going to miss a Sunday show.
Hey,
come on, Big
best
T.
of luck. Thoughts and prayers with you.
With me or Big T?
You.
Oh, you don't give a shit. It's fine.
Yeah, I do.
Let's keep moving on.
I love you, man.
Painkillers I haven't done in a while, though. I'm not looking forward to that because then you can't poop for a week. It's just painkillers are the worst.
Tell them you don't need them. Say you're loaded up on the gummies. Go with the gummies over the
when I had my Achilles reconstruction 2 years ago, it was the best thing for me. I didn't even eat half of my my pain pills. I was just gummied up for 3 days. It was so fucking great.
We'll get Mangone in DC to come check on you.
Yeah, I don't think DC's going to check on me. Mangone might though. He's a nice individual. The Jets.
Actually, he's leaving. He's traveling for Christmas, so he won't be around.
Yeah, no one's helping me. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Thank you, Quentin. So here's the deal. We've got the Jets in Miami. Before we even get into this, like in a tournament, Tua. I just haven't seen a ceiling out of this guy in like 2 months. There's no Waddle. They do have Parker, so everybody's gonna like Parker today. But can you just talk to me about Tua? Yeah, I mean, I'm the one that recommended Davis Mills, so why not Tua?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going in this cheapish range, I think he's probably the safest. Probably more, well, to go to your point, probably more of like a cash game play opposed to a tournament play. Because you're right. Like, where is the upside? Like, has he flashed it? No, not really. I mean, we saw 28 against Atlanta, 25 against Jacksonville. After that, it's been a bunch of upper teens games. But if there was a spot to have a ceiling game, it's probably at home against the Jets, who are awful. That being said, Gaskin back, they run that wildcat at the goal line a lot, which is not good for a guy like Tua. So honestly, if Gaskin was going to miss this game, I would like Tua a lot more. But I mean, it's not like they just do it, once where they bring Gaskin in to run the wildcat. It happens a lot over the course of the game. So him in scares me a little bit for Tua. Still, I think a cash game option. Waddle on the COVID list. Devontae Parker gets a big boost. Mike Gesicki gets a big boost. I don't know. These guys are like, to me, in like the projections, they're going to pop all over the place. I'm a little more worried. I mean, they still have a lot of guys they can throw the football to. I mean, they have a lot of dudes they use. I think Parker specifically is a good fade in tournaments. I'm curious.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Just because, yes, there's upside, but there's so many paths to him like not having that big game. They have a lot of other guys. They use Gesicki a lot. They use, like I said, Gaskin in the Wildcat. I think Parker in tournaments is a good fade. He's going to be wildly popular because of the price tag, and I get it, but really don't need the salary this week. You can get whatever you want for the most part. There's another cheap wide receiver that I like a lot more that we'll talk about later in one of the later games. So yeah, not as high on Miami as most. Gesicki though is fine at tight end. And then on the Jet side, a lot of people, Michael Carter's a name that's getting tossed around this week. Yeah, I mean, he's a fine option, 4.7K. I'm not super excited, but I think he's in play here this week. It's about it. Not as excited about this game, I think, as most.
That's great information because, again, I think Parker is a guy I've got a lot of. And there are some other, like Gaskin, a fade for me. Every time I fade him, he goes off. But you got to take a stand, right? So I think the best play from this game is the Dolphins defense if you wanted to pay up. I mean, this could be running back 2 production from the Dolphins defense. So if you do have a couple extra bucks today, and I see you shaking your head there, like there's a few defensive options, and everybody's going to go to the Bills at 3-1 on DK, but boy, the other side of that coin there with that defense is, it's pretty damn good. I'm supposed to remind everybody about the Tournament of Champions. I don't understand why this doesn't fill all week. It doesn't make sense to me. So let's get that going. It's an absolutely free tournament that we put on for you guys, or that you guys put on for us guys. And it's more for the subscribers than anything else, because I don't keep the money that I win. So can you try and persuade people to get in there, please? Because it's just another thing that RPS does to give back to our subs.
Yeah, it's we run it every single week. DK throws in, I think, 30 tickets. First place gets a $333 Wildcat ticket, plus we kick in an extra $1,000 each week, 500 for first, 300 for second, and 200 for third. And the only stipulation is you just need to be a member to win the cash prizes. So the link is at the top of all our content on our website. It's totally free to enter. I mean, literally $0 come out of your DK account when you enter, and all those prizes, tickets, the top 20 get tickets, the top 3 win cash prizes that we kick in. So no reason not to get in.
Nope. And then thank you very much. Looking forward to my first ever RPS bonus. I'm sure you guys are going to send me a ticket for like a free $9 entry. And then they actually did hook everybody up with our own little coordinators tournament today. So I think I can't remember if that's the one I'm going with Davis Mills. I'll just throw that in there, and nobody else will have them.
Own the RPS coordinators with the Davis Mills stack. Davis Mills to Cooks to James. Just own them.
Just own them.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know. We'll see what we do. And then maybe Davis Mills is like one of the bigger ones, Davis Mills is more like at least 1,500 guys, 1,500 people. This is not a single entry.
Yeah, you're talking like 30 people in this one. So
yeah, there's just not, I don't know if I can suck it up and do that. Okay. Like button. We're 9 away from 500. That's the first thing. Second of all, I don't know if JSU was going to hop on. He says he's building lineups. What was he doing last night? And then when you're a member, you get to watch Up to Lock with JSU, the best Up to Lock in the world, one of the greatest single entry, 3-man, 5-man, 20-man max tournaments in the world, tournament players in the world. I'll hop on there. JJ from the bet side hops on to give us some plays too. And that's what we do. So let's keep moving on. What's the next game? So the Jets, no Tua, fade that game a little bit. Okay. Washington, Philly has been postponed. We don't have that one. So we do have Carolina, Buffalo. Hoop. Josh Allen, he looked like his foot was messed up. It looks pretty good now. He's got a lot of options to throw it to. I think Gabe Davis is going to be the guy that a lot of us end up gravitating toward. I think it's another good week for Dawson Knox. He just crushes man coverage, and you're going to see a lot of it today. Or he's going to see a lot of it today from Carolina. So talk to me here. And before you get into these plays, what is your philosophy in a tournament? Do you have to have a run back? I personally don't. Do you have to have a run back? Because Carolina's offense sucks. Yeah. I mean, you can talk about DJ Moore. I don't think you have to have one if you're running the Bills out.
No, I don't think you have to. And I know a lot of people are on the other side of this argument, but it's happened a ton on these slates where people are winning it with a stack and no run back. So, maybe in the past it's the right move, but I feel pretty good in saying from now moving forward, like it's just, you don't need to do it. I mean, when you have a good offensive team going against just a dusty team, like don't force it in. Like we've seen winners all season long with no run backs. And this is a perfect example of it because I don't want to play any Panthers. I hate the Panthers today. There's no one that I want to play, not even our boy Throbby Robbie. No interest. But on the Bills, yeah, I can't do it. I mean, it was a good bit for a while. I mean, I really haven't played Robbie. It was like the first 5 weeks, and I was done. Good. Although he is coming off a bit. Was it last week he had the big game? I think he had like 21 fantasy points. So got it done last week, but not going back. Yeah. On the Bills side, I think the Bills are a very overrated team. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're going to be contending, but this is a spot they need a win, and I think they have enough power to just, get that win. Josh Allen, phenomenal quarterback play. No, Emmanuel Sanders opens up opportunities for obviously Dawson Knox, Diggs, Beasley, but I think the guy that I want today is Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis, phenomenal play, getting a ton of red zone targets, which is super important. Even when he had like a tiny role, like didn't have a big role, like Josh Allen is locked in to Gabe Davis in the red zone. So I think he's a really good play today. Like I said, Diggs, all the pass catchers get a little boost. It's a good spot here. I think the Bills roll offensively versus Panthers defense. Like I said, I don't want any run backs in Buffalo, but I'll have a lot of Bills.
We just got some news. I mean, you want to talk about a shit show. We'll get to the Packers here, but Jimmy Smith now positive for COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, can you name one Ravens corner? Because it's Anthony Averett, Tavon Young, Kevon Seymour, and Robert Jackson.
Yeah, and the Packers are a smart team too. They're not one of these dumbass teams. Like they're going to attack a team's weakness, and I think you're going to see a lot of Aaron Rodgers today. Big boost to the passing attack for the Packers.
Yeah, we'll get to that game too. But that was some pretty big news that popped, and that's the other thing. Like if you're really going to be a complete DFS player, you better pay attention to a lot of these defensive injuries too. Because a lot of times those have every bit the impact that the offenses are. So
it's just harder to analyze because it's not a known. A lot of times, especially DFS players, they don't know the individual defensive pieces, obviously, as well as the offensive pieces. So it's hard for us to gauge the importance of a guy missing. But that seems like pretty big news.
Yeah, because Jimmy Smith, remember, Humphrey was out. He just got hurt. Smith had been gone for a lot this year, but that's secondary. And now you throw Huntley into the mix as their quarterback likely. Oof, this could be an ugly day for the Ravens. And that team is slipping fast. So let me ask you about a stacking question from this game, because you mentioned how you like Gabe Davis in the end zone. I like Gabe Davis too. Are you just hurting yourself if you went Davis and Knox in the same lineup, considering these are two guys that are going to be pretty touchdown dependent that are looked to deep in that zone?
Yeah, probably wouldn't do that. Like especially when I'm not doing this could be, I don't know. I'm not someone that sits and analyzes all the numbers and the historical data, but for me in my head, if I'm going to play a Josh Allen team and not do a run back, I probably only want one wide receiver, but I think that waivers a little bit when you're talking about two cheaper type guys. So it's like Josh Allen, you're playing Gabe Davis and Knox. Both those guys combined, are like 8 or 9K. So I think you can do it a little bit, but I wouldn't do like Diggs, Knox, Allen without a run back, if that makes sense.
What is your take on Beasley then too? Just like
yeah. I mean, he's fine. I mean, probably better DK play just because the way he can rack up the receptions, 4.9K. I think he's fine. I want exposure to all these Bills guys for sure.
Okay, like button. That would be great. And if we hit the 500, you think we get to 6? We only got like 4 games left. We probably get to 550 at least. Right, Hoop?
Can't imagine. I mean, we need Big T to come on. I mean, I just can't imagine if this live final. What we always talk about the good mojo. Could you imagine worse mojo by not showing up to the Wood and expecting to win 2.5 million? Like it's just not going to happen. Big T needs to get on it.
Yeah, and worse than that, he's just shitting on us.
Yeah,
is what it is. He's afraid because of what he sees here, and just suck it up, Big T. I know you will do the right thing before it is all said and done. Thank you, Uncle T. Beasley is white. Uncle T just leaving the great comments today. It's terrific. Beasley is white. How am I supposed to respond to that, Hoop? Yes. Yes, you are correct, sir.
That is just like Big T likes his establishments that we talked about earlier. Yes, that Beasley is indeed Caucasian.
Okay. What color is Aaron Rodgers, Uncle T? Can you let us know what that one is too? Actually, if you could just go down race by race through every player that you're going to play today, I would really appreciate that. It'd be a wonderful bit. Let's move on. I think I'm at the end of that one. So we got the 4:00 games. We got Cincinnati, Denver, Atlanta, San Francisco, and then Green Bay and Baltimore. We might actually have time to take some questions too, Hoop. Can you believe it? Like questions today? It's only the two of us.
Yeah. Two-man booth.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it works. I'm fine with that. Here's how I see this Broncos Bengals game panning out. I think, and this is going to be trouble for Denver, I think Teddy's going to have to throw today, man, because they're so good. Yeah. The Bengals are so good against the run, and I know the Broncos will try it. I don't know if it works out for them. And then if you dig into the numbers, the Broncos defense, the scoring defense has been absolutely remarkable. But you dig down, you look at DVOA, you watch the games like I do. Chase, Higgins, and my other guy's Mixon. I think Mixon can run for 100 yards. The question is, does he fall into the end zone? Because it's tough scoring on those guys. So I think a lot of people are just going to look at this hoop and they're going to stay away from it. Total 44. We don't need to go here. I think we can go here. So the question is, where do you go? Because I don't think Burrow stacks are going to be very popular, are they?
No. I think both sides are going to be very low owned all around, and I think it's for a good reason. I don't really like this spot. I hate games in Denver. It just seems like they're nasty, grinded out type games. I could see this being one of those games. Not much offense, just ugly football game. So for me personally, this is going to be like a cross-off game. I mean, I typically don't play the Broncos as is. They have the two running backs, 3 or 4, wide receivers they throw it to. I just don't like the spot. Now the Bengals, on the other hand, have been an offense definitely to target for DFS purposes. I can't do it going to Denver. I just don't like the spot. So this is a game I'll be off. Just getting some messages here from our boy. Hopefully. All right.
Tony?
Yeah. Hopefully we see him pretty soon.
Okay. Very good. Hopefully. Well, tell him if we get 600, will he definitely, at the second we get 600, will he show up? Because I don't get the delay. Like, what does he have to do? It's $2.5 million. Big deal. You've won that in the last year, Tony. It's not like you got to prep for this too much. Football's easy, right? Right, Hoop? Football's easy.
Correct.
Just put the plays in, get the values, play the best plays, and it's really easy. And guys, I think we are going to have a few minutes to take questions. I'm not going to guarantee it, but yeah. Fancy people call white people Caucasian. Yeah. Doesn't do it for me. I don't like being Caucasian. Just a white dude. It's all good. Like button's good. Subscribe to our YouTube page too. It's that little red button down there. 2 games left. I mean, let's go then. Green Bay, Baltimore. How are we not just rolling out? Like Aaron Rodgers should be the chalk at quarterback. I know we don't care about the chalk, but he's got to be there. I'm off of this running game for Green Bay as of right now. Obviously, Devontae is going to be the big play here. The question is, who are the secondary wide receivers that you would run out there? And would you target the Green Bay running game today?
No, on the Green Bay running game. Despite the position being weak, I don't know who's going to get the work. I mean, it looked like it was going to be more of a split than last week. It was kind of, more Aaron Jones in those important spots. So I'm going to just leave that to be. I'm not messing with that. I think Aaron Rodgers, phenomenal play. Like I said, I think the Packers are a good team at attacking another team's weaknesses. And it looks like it's going to be a game where they're going to be able to pass the ball and do whatever they want through the air. Love Devontae Adams. Love Allen Lazard. I mean, he was really looking to Lazard last week a lot. MBS just sucks. I mean, he sucks every week. He's a disaster. But love Adams. Love Lazard. And I'm just avoiding the Ravens situation. I mean, it sounds like Lamar is not going to play. I don't want to play these running backs, these pass catchers. I mean, I know Sammy Watkins is out, but I'll just I'll be fine being off this game or being off the Ravens side, like the Packers passing game.
I'm hearing a lot of Devontae Freeman though. And I think that's just because of the volume he's getting. Like, if they're down 21-0, are they going to give him the ball still? Are they just going to throw it to him? I suppose. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I doubt it. I mean, I don't think so. That's why I don't want to play it. Like, I don't know. I mean, it could be a really rough game here for the Ravens, like very rough.
All right. Just keep it simple then.
Yes.
Rodgers, Adams, maybe something else.
I like Lazard a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the Lazard King. And I would like MVS more, but he's got a lower body. I think it's a hamstring. Is that what it is? So that's a little concerning too. And Lazard was active, but Hoop, it could be like a 70-yard touchdown pass to Valdez Scantling, and then that's what it does, right? That just breaks it. Yeah. I do want to mention the Packers defensive team has 13 plus fantasy points in 3 or 4 games. So I talk about the Bills and I talk about the Dolphins. Well, I think with Lamar likely out, how do we not at least think about the Packers here? Because they're in a pretty decent spot if Huntley's in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Packers defense is certainly in play. What's the price tag on DK?
I'm looking for him right now.
3-3. I mean, they're right there. The Bills will be popular on DK at 3.1K. 200 more to get the Packers. Yeah, sure. I'm definitely on board with that.
Yeah, a lot of Bateman I'm seeing. I mean, he did get targeted a lot by Huntley. There's no question. So I think people rolling out. I don't think I'll have Bateman, but I think people rolling out Bateman. There's a very good argument to be made for rostering him today. So there you go. We got one more game to go. Like button down there. Do want to get to our premium chat here for a second. Swint, who ended up who ended up getting Hoop the jersey. Here we go. For the record, 5 stories in a 5-minute radius on my way home. It was easy to get the jersey. I might know Hoop personally, but when you listen to someone daily, that's everyone. It's like a little dysfunctional family and appreciate what you all do. So here we go again. They say this, even me being a great host with stories like no one else. Yes. So Swint, great one. You stroked my ego. You obviously stroked Hoop. And that's the thing. We don't have a promo code anymore. You're just like, fuck the promo code, right? So you're on your own. Yep. You're on your own now.
People had their chance. They had their chance all last week, and it's too good of a product to discount at this point.
I mean, seriously, who would not, and I'm not even kidding here, who would not want Tony's core today on a day like this? The question is, does he throw the core? Is that part of the lineup that he's playing? I don't know if you can do that. You've done this before. If you're giving out a core, do you give out the core for your big tournament or maybe the second core today? Because his second core is as good as anybody's.
Yeah, I mean, because for the cash game stuff, we give out like a player pool type thing. But I mean, Tony gives out exactly what he typically is playing. So I'd assume what goes on the website today is what he will most likely be playing. I mean, I can't say for certainty because it's a unique situation where he's playing for $2.5 million today, like one of the biggest prize pools ever. So maybe today's a little different, but if you're a member at Runpure Sports, you're going to have access to the guys that Tony likes today, one way or another.
What's the biggest tournament you've ever been in?
I've been in these football live finals before. I haven't done very well, but I've been a part of them.
Yeah, good times.
Yep.
Good stuff. Fun to meet everybody.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Okay, here we go again. Last game to get to, and we will have some time to get to your questions unless you just want to go Hoop. I mean, you'll know better than me for that. So Jimmy G, I don't. You tell me if he's cash game viable today with Atlanta and San Francisco. Cordero Patterson. I want to talk about this for a second because if you will notice, the last couple of weeks, and the coaching staff for Atlanta has come out and say that they're starting to reduce the workload for their veterans. So Cordero's definitely had his workload taken aback. Let me go check the game log out because it's fairly drastic. The thing about Cordero is, though, does he need more than 18 touches, to get out there. And then he really hasn't seen the workload that much, but you do see Mike Davis starting to get a lot of touches too. So that's the issue there. Like Mike Davis at 5'1", no one wants to play Mike Davis, but he's got 17 and 13 and a half DK points, and he's got at least 4 targets in 4 straight games. So he is taking some of the work away from Peterson. So maybe you could start at running back in this game, and then we'll get to the other. The other running back is Deebo Samuel too. But talk about the running backs from Atlanta and San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, on the Atlanta side, again, one of these, dusty teams, nothing to play for. Cordell Patterson, yeah, phenomenal fantasy season. I don't think I've clicked his name once. I just can't imagine doing it at this point in the season. No. Mike Davis can't really do that. I mean, this is a bad spot for Atlanta. So with the exception of Kyle Pitts, I think I'd play some Kyle Pitts today. 5.5 on DK, 5.8 on FanDuel. I think he is in the conversation. Now, with the 49ers, it's interesting. They obviously have some pieces here. Jeff Wilson will be popular, positive game script for him, and we know what the 49ers like to do. If they get a lead, they'll lean on these running backs. And Jeff Wilson kind of busted last week, but I think he bounces back in a big way here today. So definitely like Jeff Wilson. Deebo Samuel is just turning into one of those guys to me that's like Justin Jefferson, where no matter what the matchup is, the situation, you play him in tournaments. You have him in your player pool. So definitely give me some Deebo in tournaments. And then George Kittle has just been playing phenomenally well lately. I mean, back-to-back 34-plus fantasy point games. Love Kittle, and he's kind of the standalone spend-up option at tight end this week. Will a lot of people pay up for him? I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on roster construction. People will have the salary to do it, but I do like Kittle here. The risk with a guy like Kittle is the 49ers getting out to a big lead and turning it over to the run, which would kind of stymie the passing game. But, some solid option here. Jeff Wilson, the safest, Deebo in tournaments, and then George Kittle, I think, is a fine play in all formats.
Okay. Then there was one other player I want to get to from this game. Oh, Jeff Wilson. Man, maybe you addressed Jeff Wilson's just hot garbage.
Yeah, he sucked last week, but I mean the situation's good for him again this week. Can he bounce back and get it done? I mean, I kind of like him this week.
You kind of like him.
Just running back sucks, man. I guess that's like a different slate. I'd be off of him, but like running back is so shitty. Like I think I feel okay taking my chances on him.
So I think the biggest thing takes here is maybe shift a little ownership away from Devontae Parker, and that would be it. That's a big takeaway I've got from you so far. Maybe I'll be
tournaments. Yeah, I like going under on Parker
a little bit later than that. Hey guys, if you want to ask some questions, we got another 15 minutes or so. Hopefully Big T will join us. If not, excuse me, Mr. Man Crush on Trump said he saw Big T spotted in the hotel gym this morning with his socks pulled up to his knees, sporting head wristbands, jamming to Richard Simmons.
Yeah, like the true giveaway there is the word gym and Big T. Like those two words, like in a sentence, like without like the words not at or something like that, it's just not even a possible statement. So Big T is like allergic to two things Big T doesn't do. He does not go to the gym, and he does not eat a healthy diet. Those are two things that will not that's Big T to a T.
Did you watch any of the shitty fights last night, by the way?
UFC or?
Yeah,
I watched the UFC.
But you didn't see Logan Paul, did you?
I saw the highlight. I mean, that was a wild knockout. Yeah.
He knocked that dude out. I'm starting to get a little worried that this guy might be good.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell challenged him to a fight today, though. But all these guys, they keep challenging him, but he keeps beating them. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then Frank Gore just got bludgeoned last night. And there's a lot of weird fights last night, Hoop. Weird things happened. Logan Paul, Frank Gore, Darren Williams.
The Frank Gore thing was pretty wild. His face, he did not look like he was on this planet for a minute there.
I know. My girl Lisa Ann walked him out last night. had a little convo with her. She's like, it was rough on Frank. It was a little rough on Frank, but he did get pushed through the ropes. He didn't get hit through the ropes. He only got pushed through the ropes. So,
Uncle T's in the chat verifying the gym thing with Big T. But I would, I'd be willing if there's some sort of fitness test. Okay, I would put my money on Uncle T over Big T if there's some sort of just neutral fitness test that both could participate in. I'm putting my money on Uncle T over Big T.
I agree. Well, now, thank you for completely fucking ruining this whole show. Ron Ward, Jake Paul is the GOAT. The GOAT. Come on. No, he's not. It's impressive though.
Yeah, he's doing the right things, and from the business standpoint, I will say that much. I mean, very above everything else with the boxing and all that. He's making some cheese on this. So
100% agree with you. Uncle T versus Big T. Uncle T whoops his ass. Old man strength with a mustache. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's over at that point. Just done.
It's done, dude. Jake, what do you guys think about Debo versus Devontae in a large field GPP on DK? Who has the higher ceiling? Well, Devontae always has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. You play, like I said, every week, I think Debo Samuel is proven to be a guy that you want exposure to. I mean, he gets carries, tons of targets. He's just a freak athlete, a freak fantasy performer. You want exposure to Debo for sure. I think especially on a slate like this where we don't have a lot of high-end guys to spend up on. I think it's a perfect week to play Debo in tournaments.
Look at this. I mean, it's a two-man booth, so you're getting the opportunity to ask questions on this free show. This is absolutely amazing stuff. It doesn't happen. What else we got here? Worried about Gaskin. Again, you're off him, but
I like Gaskin. I like him a little bit more, actually. The more I thought about it after we talked about that game, if I'm going to be lower on Parker and Tua, lower on Parker and Tua, I need to be higher on Gaskin because that's the way those guys fail. Gaskin getting touchdowns, Gaskin operating out of the Wildcat, which I think happens this week. So I'm gonna boost Gaskin a little bit more just after thinking about everything.
Boosting Gaskin, okay. All right. A little Miles action. I'm trying to figure out the chalk too this week. I mean, you got the ownership there. My sense is Devontae is he going to be the highest owned player on the slate?
I think so now.
Who else could it be?
Highest owned spend or just the highest owned player in general?
Highest owned player.
James Robinson.
Okay. And then the second?
Maybe Devontae Parker. Yeah, I think it's Robinson, Parker are for sure the two popular ones.
What do you think about tight end? I think this is interesting because Kittle's coming off of just two complete bombshell games, right? He's over 30. He was flirting with 40 points both games. You talked about Pitts. There's Dawson Knox, who I think is probably in line for a touchdown, but he might be more of a cash play he's 5-1. So maybe he's just out of the mix here. Gesicki, you brought up. I know you don't want anything to do with this Broncos game. Something's telling me Noah Fant's getting in the box today.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm kind of down on that situation because they just have so many different guys that they can go to, and it scares me. But I wouldn't be shocked one bit if Fant, gets in the end zone here.
And then O'Shaughnessy. O'Shaughnessy and Brevin
cheap
Jordan.
Yeah, cheap guys. I mean, you can always play cheap tight ends, especially on DK. But the one guy at tight end that we talked about that I think is a very interesting play is Zach Ertz.
Is Gaskin? Who do you pivot off of to get Gaskin? Do you pivot off of James Robinson, or does James Robinson have to be in the?
Man, I think it's tough to not play James Robinson today. I mean, maybe off so Jeff Wilson. A lot of people are going to play Jeff Wilson. Gaskin over Jeff Wilson, I think, is a good type hit.
That's the play.
Both are fine options. So, I mean, Gaskin, I don't know how owned he's going to be, coming off the COVID list or whatever. I think he was on the COVID list. It's hard to really gauge the ownership, to be honest. But I think I like Gaskin more now than when we talked about the game.
You like Gaskin more now. The other guy at tight end, and I didn't even bring him up. This is a hold your breath, man. This is a super hold your breath. He's got to score a touchdown. I don't know. Has the word Zylstra ever been brought up on this show?
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Shane Zylstra.
What team is he on?
And the only reason I know him is because I watched the Lions against the Broncos. and he got 2 red zone targets. Now, listen, man, it's fucking super deep and super uncomfortable, but I mean, that's probably a 150 play. I'm just going to throw that out there. All right. I don't think we're getting Big T today. Apologies to all you guys and ladies that were looking for Big T. We finished with an admirable 557 likes. We've gotten to that with Big T before, so it's not a big deal. Plus, I got to go put all my lineups together. Anything else you would like to say about this slate hoop before we get out of here a little bit early?
Yeah, I mean, unique slate where we've lost a couple games, not a ton in terms of spend ups. I think in tournaments can leave a little more money on the table, a little more salary on the table this week. There's only a few like high-end spends I think that can really crush you. It's an interesting week, and we got football, the next 2 days, a couple 2-game slates on Monday and Tuesday. Very exciting stuff. But most importantly, good luck to our boys, Bobby Gomes and Big T, competing for that $2.5 million. I want to see one of those guys take it home for us today.
That would be nice to see.
Yep.
No doubt about it. That's a 20,000 play Title Town. So how can you enter to 20,000 on a Sunday? Is there if I did enough 150s, could I do? I still don't think I would do it. I still don't think I could get to that. Okay.
No.
All right. So no Steven Zylstra. Hey,
he's finding the box today.
Title, if he scores, you owe me a Steven Zylstra jersey. Okay.
Hey, good luck finding that one. I mean, just imagine what I had to go through getting Hunter Renfrow. Imagine what it would take to get whoever the guy is. I'm not even going to say. I don't even know how to say his name. Zylstra.
What's my play of the day? Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, it's Dante Foreman. It's just, and I can't get all week long. I've just been looking at him, so I'm not going to go away. It's Foreman for me. I'm looking at. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it'll be a close game, and the Steelers are just an abhorrent defensively against the run. It's a really good matchup. So
I like that play.
That'll be my play. And what was yours? Rich
Parents.
Hold on, we probably need the graphic. Let's
we'll get
sign
the
it. Get the graphic
queued
up. Rich Parents.
Rich Parents play of the day. I'm not going to pick it. It's not going to be like a crazy, like low-owned guy. I'll give 2, actually. I'll give 2 since Big T's not here. The first is going to be Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz has a big day today. Cheaper on FanDuel. He's 5.3 on FanDuel, 5.4 on DK. I really like Ertz. Gets to play in that dome. And then I'm going to go to the Bills because I want exposure to the Bills today. Gabe Davis, I think, is just a really strong play. Yes, he's going to be owned, but he gets this increased role with Emmanuel Sanders out. He's already getting red zone targets. I mean, he barely had any role for a few weeks and was still getting those red zone targets. So Gabe Davis / Zach Ertz as the Rich Parents plays of the day.
Ooh, plays of the day.
Plays.
I like it. So
with a Z. With a Z.
We got the double. We got the Ertz and Davis from Hoop. I'm going to throw Foreman out there. And good luck to our boys, Bobby Gomes and Big T. Although there was multiple times to get Big T this week on the Hunter Renfrow thing. It didn't.
He dodged it. I mean, so wild. Absolutely dodged it. What day did the Bear? That's on Tuesday. The Browns and the Raiders. He's facing whatever show Big T does on Tuesday. I'm coming on.
All right, then I'm there too.
Let's do
That's it, Big T. We missed you today. We're doing a Tuesday show with you.
JSU, if you're watching, lock us in for Tuesday, the 2-game slate. Me, Holden, Big T. If you want to hop on, let's get that set up on the schedule.
Yeah, I would say JSU right now is not even bother watching. He made his cores. I see his cores up here right now. Love it. All right, let's go. And of course, Big T is probably not going to drop his DK core till about 1 second before lock, right? Because I think he is going to give us the good one, the one that he's using today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think he is. Yep.
All right. Up to lock show starts in about, I don't know, 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes, because we got the inactives coming out in 10 minutes. So make sure you stick around. Premium subscribers will get you the inactives as they pop out, because right now the biggest one we got is Jimmy Smith. But that's a big one because now everybody in the Ravens secondary is just, oh, look at this. Oh, I just got a, that's it. Brandon Zylstra, guys. Go with both Zylstras today. There's the Zylstra brothers. One is with the Lions and Shane. Brandon is with the Panthers. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful, I say. Maybe I'll put him in the coordinators thing just to fuck around and see if we can do something. All right, guys. Simon, it's time for us to get out of here, so please do so.